And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Juice is Loose podcast. Is number 162. And this one is called Portability versus Playability. We'll talk about that later. But first, anybody pick up Steamworld Dig 2? I know, Robert, you got the review code, but anybody else pick the game up?
I asked the dev via Twitter if they were going to release it physical, so I was waiting for that. And he said yeah, so I'm going to pick it up next week and probably digitally.
All right, I picked it up. Robert, you did a little impressions video. Terrell,
I'm going to. I mean, I slaughtered the first one, so.
All right, yeah. Point.
Eventually, I'm still trying to finish Metroid.
Well, I can say, as a diehard Nintendo first-party guy, this game is every bit as good as Metroid: Samus Returns to me. Like this is a really good game, and I didn't play the first one, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a long-time Steamworld fan. This is my first foray, and the game's just utterly fantastic. Like, it's other than some of the jumps a little weird when you jump and you can climb the wall, and then when there's like a small ledge, sometimes it's hard to land on it. But other than that, it's a fantastic game, and I'm just super into it. And actually put Samus Returns down for 2 days while I was playing this game. That's how good it is. So, Robert, I know you did your impressions. How are you feeling about the game?
It is great. It's super addicting, and what's crazy. And I never always found this game weird because I always looked at the trailer. I'm like, I don't know exactly what you do necessarily in the game, and yeah, it's like you dig, but it's like when you play it, it's like, oh, I get it. It's a lot of fun. It's super damn addicting. It's very unique in its gameplay. And it's just a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. I totally recommend it. And there's actually a lot for it for only $20. I think it's pretty damn good.
Welcome to Club Steamworld. You guys are a couple years late, but
yeah.
I like how this one, they designed the levels. It's not just procedurally generated, which probably didn't affect it that much. But knowing that everything was placed.
Which one was procedurally generated?
The first one. So if you
really.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
You go into an area, it knows there's a door. There's got to be a door, and it.
Oh, you mean like in the caves?
I'm not sure how it's different than the second one. The second one has open world. It's all linked. There's no, unless you do fast travel, there's no loading or anything.
Yeah.
You do go into caves, but everything plays the same. So I don't know. I'm just going off what he said. He said they designed these levels, and the first game was procedural.
I do not remember that at all. Procedural.
So if you go and replay that game, a door to whatever wherever you got to go is in a different spot. Like, that's something came straight from them. So, so I don't know. It must not have. Obviously, if you play it, that only affects multiple playthroughs. It doesn't affect if you only played it once. But that was interesting to find out. But as far as the gameplay, like for anyone that's like seen the early goings, like when you got to hit a block 3 times with an axe to break it, that doesn't last for long. You can upgrade. You get your axe pretty quickly, and you get it for most. You just got to hit it once. That was something I was worried about. Someone just watching like previews and stuff, like, man, it looks slow. You got to hit the block like 3 times to break it. And then when I started the game, I was like, oh, this is kind of tedious. And it didn't take long to get enough. Find enough resources to upgrade the axe. So that was like the first half hour that was an issue, and that went away. There's still blocks that take a couple hits later in the game, even with your upgrade. But for anyone worried, if they're worried like I was about that, it's not an issue that lasts very long. So I was.
You don't think about it. You just kind of.
I was a little slow going at first. It's like, man, every one of these I got to hit 3 times. It sucked, but. That's the benefit of upgrading your gear. It makes the experience better.
It's probably a product of me being used to playing like slow-paced games anyway. So maybe
I was gonna say, it makes me think of the same mechanics you get like Harvest Moon and Rune Factory kind of stuff.
Right.
Like, it's the exact same thing. You get bigger axes so that you can break breaks faster, that kind of stuff. So that didn't worry me.
Yeah, go figure. A game that actually reward you for playing it and upgrading your gear. You know, that's what
So
seems.
can we ask the question, like, what is an indie game? Because see,
Just a-
I never. It's fun to hear, or cool to hear all you guys say the stuff about how, you know, it's as good as a first party like Nintendo title or something. I mean, subconsciously I probably thought that, but when I first played the first one, but I just thought, man, this game is phenomenal. You know, so
Mhm.
it wasn't like I was thinking of it as an indie game, even though it was $20. So it's just kind of like, that's why, again, the whole title of indie game is a vast array of quality, and you know.
Yeah, people apply it to like all in one, like a all in one statement. It's really just a developer that doesn't have a publisher, like they're just
Right.
doing it themselves. But you look at
Well, I hear people say all the time, well, I don't play indie games. Well, I'm like, well, there's so many. That's like saying you don't play Nintendo games.
Yeah,
There's so many
fucking
different
people
types.
say that.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
no, and even Rob Rule 2, it was surprising. He's just, I don't get into indie games. Like, he's an old school Nintendo guy who likes those types of
yeah, he
games
doesn't
back
really
in the
care
day.
for it.
But to me, like the guys that did Snake Pass, they made the Sonic Racing game for Sega. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not like they're small. They're not a tiny team like some of these one or two guy really just doesn't have a studio and makes a game and then releases it type of thing. Like that's a like a, to me that was like a true indie, like the guy that made Axiom Verge, you know. But when you got a team and a company that makes money, like Image Inform, like they make money off their games. Like
It's like when people say, I can understand it when somebody says, I don't play shooters or I don't play races, but when you
Right.
say I don't play indies, it's just like saying you're not playing games. It's like, what are you saying? There's no separation in that.
There's so many different types of indie games. It's kind of strange. I think it's because of the stigma that it's cheap.
Yep.
I think that has to do with it, and I think that's what we need to get away from, because, like you just explained, you know, this game is phenomenal. It's cheap. It's $20, but you know, so is Sonic Mania, and
Yeah.
that I don't consider it an indie game. And like Snake Pass. Snake Pass isn't the same thing as Gunman Clive or something. I mean, these are very different games and very different types of quality. And Gunman Clive is a great quality title as well. It's just you look at
A perfect example for this is Stardew Valley. I used to
Stardew
love
Valley.
the Harvest Moon franchise and all that stuff. And that is like major, like basically AAA stuff, you know, the Harvest Moon franchise. And then you take like Stardew Valley, which one fucking dude made, and there will never be a Harvest Moon that can even come close to this game compared to everything it has to offer. Like, this is no comparison anymore. To me, if it's just in the quality of the game and how big it is, Stardew Valley is a AAA game, and Harvest Moon can fuck off now.
and
Axiom
like,
Verge. That's
yeah,
another
to
one.
me, and I do want to talk a little bit about Samus Returns, and maybe we just go right into it since you're talking about Axiom.
Yeah.
Because Samus Returns doesn't have like boss fights really. I mean, there's some variations on the Metroids you fought, and I got 12 Metroids left, so I hear there's a final like two final bosses, but because Axiom Verge has those standard, like when you expect, you know, a boss fight to happen, that it has those in the game, plus the rest of the game is just as good. So for me, I'd have Axiom Verge ahead of Samus Returns at this point based on that fact alone. The rest of I think they're pretty equal, other than Samus Returns being like amazing 3D experience as far as like the depth of 3D on a 3DS. But so there's an example where one dude made a game that to me is up there with, even though Nintendo didn't develop this with their own team, they you know, they were there, supervised the whole thing. And I think Samus Returns is a great game, but I think Axiom Verge, made by one guy, is a better version of that type of game, honestly.
I think I have to agree with that. Like, I'm still waiting for the Switch version to play Axiom Verge, but I think gameplay-wise alone already, it offers more than Samus Returns does.
You know what? I think the biggest flaw with Samus Returns is that damn circle pad, man.
It is.
Like, I think that takes away from some of the fun and precision that you could be having with the game.
Trash.
It's
Yeah,
not
when you're-
trash, but it definitely like
How many times have
little
you like
clunky.
went to like hit over while you're in morph ball and you hit you hit up and you're standing up like, God damn it.
Oh yeah, there's a particular sequence towards. I think Juice, you probably already.
Oh yeah, you
played
got to
it.
run.
Yeah,
That is so frustrating.
God damn it! I died so many times purely because I was like, I don't need to turn into big Samus. I just need to use my bomb. No, I have to hit up. Oh, well, I just turned into big Samus. Got caught between a wall and I died. Thanks. Fuck it. I hate that.
Yeah, I got to the end where you grab the ledge.
Yeah.
And you have to like tap to the right again. Like you can't just hold it and Samus don't go up in that little hole.
Yeah.
You got to like let up and then tap it again. I bet 5-6 times I got to that spot and the circle pad just wouldn't respond to my input there. And it's just
It's not. The game is too fast paced.
But yeah, it's still. I like the aiming with it because I like being able to aim that precise in a Samus or a Metro game. That's nice. But with a proper analog stick,
that's the advantage of it. So,
and I wish, like, why couldn't Other M use the damn analog stick and give you something like that? That could have greatly improved that game.
Yeah.
they need to patch in something.
I mean,
They need to
definitive
talk
edition
about
of
a
Other M.
remaster, a remix, something. They need to. That just I don't know the whole auto aiming.
This proves that another Metroid 2 remake is better.
I did see somebody trying to say that.
Oh yeah, I've seen
It's not.
I've seen people
Like-
I've seen people say it's better, but not for that particular reason.
Yeah,
Most
well,
people that are claiming
they're
it's
lying.
hating on the Nintendo, those people mostly just singers, but it makes no fucking sense. Like, no, it is not better.
Yeah, they're lying. I played it. It's fun. It's cool. It's definitely impressive. But no,
But there's no comparison.
no, not at all.
Still one of the best 3DS games for me. Like behind Link Between Worlds.
You mean like the 5 games you played?
I have like 10 or 11.
Exposed.
That was good. I think that was a pretty good one. I'm pretty happy.
I don't know. That's for me in handheld. That's about the average.
That's pretty good for.
I have 11. I only played 10 of them. Still haven't opened Steamworld.
Oh yeah, because you still
I still haven't opened Codename Steam.
I'm so mad. Dude. It's such a good game. It's
Someday it's gonna be worse something.
You know the funny thing is, you play Mario Rabbids.
Lord.
It plays very similar to it too.
But it's
It
got
does,
Mario.
yeah.
I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so.
Oh, you fucking traitor!
Like I said, you don't play anything with Mario in the title.
Mhm. Except an RPG on a handheld. Never played.
What was that? Fire Emblem?
Oh, you haven't played any of the Mario?
I've never played a Mario
Luigi games.
Luigi game or any RPG, Paper Mario, or any of those.
Yeah, I don't
Like I
understand
said,
that.
you're missing out
Man.
on a ton of games.
That's blasphemy, sir.
That's bananas.
No, that's Donkey Kong. Shut up.
Well, anyway, Steamworld Dig 2, it's definitely worth $20. I don't know how I got at least 5-6 hours into it probably, and it's just so good. And you know, if you're looking for a good,
addictive as hell, no?
it is,
Super
and it's
addictive.
like then you're like you get to a spot where you're like, man, I didn't plan my digging. I can't really get back up here. I should have planned better. And then later on, you find abilities that let you get back up. But still, there's definitely areas where they want you to fall where you can't get back up. But there's others where if you just plan better while you're digging, then you know you'd have a way back up. So there's a lot of good.
So like, what's so cool about it? And I guess this is the Metroidvania thing. I still don't get the Vania part, but you feel so cool because you start off like you said, you don't have all this stuff, and you're like, you know, you're kind of plotting through, and then the more ability you just start to feel boss. You start to feel like you could do anything, and once you get to that level, it gets it's just like levels of fun in the game.
And I don't know how the first game went, but this one, you create your path, and let's say there's jewels that fall, and you're like, oh, you're out of space. You could go back. I went back like to an area where it started, and I hadn't been back for like 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. And the jewels were still there.
The jewels were still there, and your path's still there.
That's in the first one, from what I remember. I mean, that's still there. Yeah, you can. Your path is definitely there. Jules, I think it was kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they were there, remember, and sometimes they weren't. But maybe in this one they completely fixed that. So.
Yeah, it's like the way you've dug your path down, and the game's huge. There's huge areas, and then you go back up, and it's exactly like even when you close the game and reboot it, like it's still there intact, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, in this day and age, it's probably not that surprising, but
so in this one, you're like, what? You're trying to find the guy from the first one. So, yeah. Which is funny because in the first one, you're trying to find out what happened to your uncle, who's like a pile of rubble at the beginning of the game. You're trying to figure out what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know who scored the music, but it does have that Guacamelee like, not the same like type of music, but it definitely feels like the same person did both scores, which I don't know if that's true or not. Should look that up, but good music.
Might be.
The dialogue, you know, it's got some quips to it, but you know me, I'm tapping A like it's Callie and Marie. It's like Callie and Marie or the
so you're tapping A like it's 2015.
It's like I can't even think of Pearl and Marina. It's like, yeah, just get through this. That's how it's crazy. Like, I don't know why. I just want to get to the gameplay, which, funny enough, I was going to bring this up, and then I probably would have forgot if I hadn't just said that. But there's a guy commented on one of our podcasts, and he's a longtime viewer, Nintendo fan, I assume. And he says he cannot play a game if it doesn't have a good story or has like some story element that drives him forward. And I'm just like, I guess
was he born in the year 2000?
Maybe.
How's he a Nintendo fan then? Because most Nintendo games don't do that.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just wondering, like, so you not play fighters and racing games, or you just mean like an adventure game has to have a story? So I didn't really get into it because I just told him I was totally in disagreement. But speaking of stories and games, anybody beat Mario plus Rabbids? I know Terrell and I had beaten it. Anybody else finish?
I'm halfway through. I'm in the third world now.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, like you're more than halfway. Then you're like,
yeah, there's only 4.
It's only 4 worlds.
Let me just tell you that that opening cutscene, how awesome that well made it was. There's
that was amazing.
Literally no payoff to that. There's doesn't even address that.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Jews, why would you do that?
What?
Ruined. I'm done. I'm not even gonna finish it.
Just let it. Listen,
you gotta be kidding.
No, it's so abrupt, dude.
So I don't know if the DLC they're talking about
over again
is gonna finish it. Like they're talking about an additional story in 2018 for the DLC.
What needs to be patched anyway? But for the
there's not even a mention. It just boom. It just ends.
And to be fair, the gameplay does the same thing. Like you'll get to the 4th world, and like halfway through, you'll be like, "Well, damn, are we already almost done?"
Really?
And then like a few battles later, it's like, "Yeah, you're done."
Yeah, it's Batman Forever for Super Nintendo all over again.
It's so weird. It's like it's basically the Mushroom Kingdom is just the Mushroom Kingdom, and like there's no explanation to this whole like it wasn't even a real world.
I feel like I wanted to see Hiroti's reaction if he had saw this genuinely, because some of this shit, it's literally kind of you pause for a minute and you look at the screen and you're like, is that it?
I would have been credits. I'm actually glad you said something, because I would have been super. It would probably.
That's why I figured for me. It's not a spoiler. Like it actually to know about it in advance is going to soften the blow. Really.
You know what? By the way, while we're talking about Mario and Rabbids, there is one other thing I noticed. I think it was last weekend that just fucking blew me the fuck away. We already know that this is the best-selling third-party game on the Switch.
Yeah, I think that would be obvious.
And then the other thing is that I saw the game, it dropped to like $30. Like
what?
A week ago.
Yeah, I saw it too.
And I was like, what in the fuck? Are you joking?
I'm never buying a third-party game day one ever again. I'm not saying it to be funny. Like literally.
Oh my god!
Another third-party game at launch.
Granted, I don't know. I think that was just a sale. I don't think
it's just a sale.
I think it was just a sale.
Even then.
That's that's
60 on Best Buy right now, but if it
Yeah,
dropped,
it was-
even
it
on
was-
sale, if it dropped to 30, like, well, might as well wait.
I was at my store where I buy most of my games like last week, and I saw that like we have this special edition here in Europe, which is ridiculously overpriced. And the dude in the store does not decide how much he gets of what. So it's in this case Ubisoft who decide what he got and how much. And he had like a fucking mountain, literally a mountain of these games. And he was also the dude was depressed. He was all like sad and shit, like, yeah, I'm never gonna get rid of this shit, you know. And not only that, he had like cards and cards filled with the figurines. I think because Ubisoft made this game and they have most of the rights when it comes to merchandising and how to sell that product. They think because they have Mario, it's gonna sell more than it actually is going to sell. So I think there's just so much of this shit that you just see a sale more often than normally.
It's ET all over again. This game is reminding me of bad stuff.
It's more like
reminding me of-
Assassin's Creed 3 on the Wii U all over again, because that they like printed like 4 million, 3 million copies, and to this day you could probably still find it sitting in stores.
What were they thinking?
I mean, like the figurines, for example. Like I wanted to buy one of the small ones. The big ones are like 50 fucking bucks. I wanted to buy one of the small ones because I thought they looked pretty cool. I got the Luigi one and the Yoshi one. I like how they looked, and I picked this thing up. First of all, it's 20 bucks, 25 bucks in some other stores, and I picked this up. It's the size of an amiibo. It's like in a box of an amiibo, but it is not an amiibo. Not only is it not an amiibo, more expensive than an amiibo. I look, and it looks like some like 5-year-old super glued it together. Like it's so badly finished.
Really?
The big ones look cool.
Yeah, I have the big Yoshi
The
one.
big ones they look
awesome.
okay, even though they're definitely overpriced as well. I feel, but the small ones
How
are
much
just
is it?
so
Well,
bad.
those will probably be cheaper. Robert, what'd you pay for the large one?
The 440.
So yeah, that's a little steep.
Yeah, that's
Too
like
much, man.
that's what
Too much.
that's
I
more
don't know,
expensive
man.
than the
'cause
game
it's
is
pretty-
right
it's
now.
pretty
Apparently,
big, though. It's pretty big, so it's like you know.
Oh no, I've seen them in Best Buys. I've seen like the Yoshi one and the Luigi
just-
one.
I mean, I paid 80 for my Link, so I
Yeah,
can't.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
if
but
you
he's
pay
Link.
half-
He's not
Yeah,
a.
but your Link is
Yeah, but it's rabbit. It's a rabbit, dude.
That's the first 4.
The first 4 figures are ridiculously high quality. Even that cheaper shit is so well done. This shit is. I love it when people say that's so stupid. This shit is Happy Meals toys.
All right, so couple quick news topics. Attack on Titan 2 coming to the Switch, and also coming to the West, which hadn't before. Anyone care about that game?
They confirmed that
Fuck
for the
that
West.
show.
I don't.
Damn.
Damn right, Terrell.
I,
That's
don't-
how you really
I
feel.
don't understand.
I have an extreme. Listen, if you were listen as a part of the anime community, when that show originally came out in Japan, it was annoying as fuck, and then it got dubbed. It was annoying as fuck. When the first game came out, it was annoying as fuck.
Why?
So-
Because people like it. God damn it.
Hey, look, the show is not nowhere near as good as people say it is, and I got sick of hearing that shit. That's the
Like,
first thing.
okay, I really do like the show, kinda, but one thing you gotta admit, like, the production quality of it is insane compared
Oh
to
no.
what other shows do.
It's a beautiful looking show, and the game looks pretty good. Like in terms of like music and like graphics, fine. Content of the story and characters, fuck you. It's trash.
Jeez.
I like it.
It's
I like
personal.
it. I like it. I have it on.
But was it
Blu-ray.
confirmed to come to the West on the Switch?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Okay, because my first thought was that ain't coming over here.
Yeah, that was part of the announcement that the game's coming to the West.
Okay, that's
Inside,
pretty cool. I'm interested in that.
Inside's another game coming to Switch where I saw that game a
That's
couple
fucking
years ago. I didn't know that game was even out yet. Like I didn't know it had
Wow.
ever made it out. So I never.
I actually-
Inside is amazing.
I actually
Yeah,
thought
but
that was
the
a
Game of the
Microsoft
Year
one
edition
game.
out somewhere?
Hmm?
Isn't like Game of the Year edition somewhere already?
No.
I don't know. It was just a download only type of game, ain't it?
Yeah. It's just
What was
download.
the first game?
You know how they blow smoke at some of these indies games. but-
Inside used to be, I think when they announced it first, it was originally, I think, a Microsoft exclusive, and like a month later, it wasn't anymore, like any Microsoft game.
okay.
yeah, that's how they roll over there. So
Okay, because I remember when I saw it, like I said, oh, it's coming to Switch. I'm like, but doesn't Microsoft like own it or something like that? I thought it was something like it, but I guess not.
Yeah,
Well,
no, because
it's funny
it was-
because that happened with Max with Curse of the Brotherhood. That game, Xbox fanboys will never understand this, but that game started on WiiWare. It was what was it called? I forgot what it's called. It's Max something. And you use the Wii remote like a paintbrush. And so it was obviously way more intuitive on the Wii than it was when it. I think Microsoft bought them, like right after that, and they got Max Curse of the Brotherhood exclusive. And now I think Microsoft just basically let them go. Because they've been doing that a lot lately, letting the studios go. And so you might see that game coming to other consoles as well. At some point.
I'm looking at some Inside gameplay, and it's
Inside
I love the art style.
It's from the creators of Limbo, and Limbo is perfection, I feel. And this is basically like atmospheric. It's a little bit less because I really like that style that even Nintendo and Donkey Kong copied from Limbo. Like I really like that. But Inside, it's such awesome gameplay. It's still just as dark. It's just a bit less stylized, I think, than Limbo. It's such a good game.
Yeah, it's a little more realistic.
Yeah,
look, got some depth to it. That'd probably be an actual would look really cool in 3D, like Samus Returns, like but on like an HD 3D TV. Not that 3D's dead, but the way this game is designed, that would actually
not
probably
on my 3DS today.
Not on the 3DS. But all right. Seems like there was another.
I have one. If it's something real quick. I know I found out this morning. So the UK charts came out, and apparently Pokken.
Oh no! Yeah,
it came out. It came out like at number 5, and Marvel's Capcom Infinite came out at like number 12, and I'm like, yo, you tell me a port of a Wii U game that only really has like one new mode and like maybe 3-4 new characters outsold, 5 new characters. Fucking outsold Marvel's Capcom Infinite in the UK of all places, by the way.
And didn't the original on Wii U outsold Street Fighter 5?
Yeah, because it was like it got over 1 million in like a year. It was surprising as hell, and it's already outselling Marvel's Capcom Infinite in its opening weekend.
Which is crazy because I don't think any of us here picked it up.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up.
And
no,
forgot about it. Definitely going.
Terrell has it, right?
No. I have other games to finish. So that will be a later, since I've already played the game anyway.
Yeah, this playing the demo on Switch didn't like. I kind of thought it was cool.
A lot better. I'll give it that.
But I'm just
I liked what they added to it. It's just
it definitely didn't. It didn't grab my attention.
But it's simple. If you already bought it, then it's useless. But that's why I'm happy that I still hadn't picked up the Wii U one. So for me, it's pretty good.
Yeah. For me, it maybe sometime next year.
Yeah, it's kind of a later thing. We're kind of crowded this year.
Yeah. Then we got 2 basically delays from games using Unity on the Switch, which Ukulele.
Unity is trash, man.
There's like waiting for your a patch for Unity, and then that came out, and then other issues came up, so they officially
how can you delay something that doesn't have a release date? It's so dumb.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about.
It wasn't. You know what I mean? Like it's further out because it wasn't that long ago. They said they were going for final testing to submit to Nintendo.
To get my money back at this point. Man.
And now it's
wow,
Unity's fault, and it's just like, yeah, Unity and the Switch definitely, because the other game, which I don't remember what it's called, Darksiders type Battle Chasers gets delayed again. Same reason. They said they're waiting for Unity to get updated and support things they need. So.
That is weird because with Ukulele, I know they're still testing. They've been testing for a fucking year. But Battle Chasers, they had it already running at E3. So I wonder what the issue then is with Unity.
Incompetent developers. That's what.
Yeah, and if you remember, Ukulele ran like crap. Well, it had a lot of issues on the Xbox One version, more so than the PS4. They fixed it later, but so the question is, would you rather have them just wait and make sure they get these ironed out? And if the game that when it launches is pretty much bug free, then was that the better choice for you guys? Especially considering
I'm not.
Yeah, we're still getting the game. I want the game.
I've already paid for it, but give me a window. Like,
yeah, I agree.
That's what I always said. Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, well, we can't, really say because it truly is kind of could be anytime, because they're trying to work with Unity, trying to get it figured out. But
they should have delayed this game to begin with, and because Nintendo is the platform you want to release on first.
Exactly.
With this type of game anyway.
And
you would never had any of these issues with the Xbox One version and some issues with PS4 and PC version if you just waited, like you do with the other consoles. Wait, they wait to get those console versions out first. You should have just waited and got them all out together, and that way you could have ironed out all these stupid bugs, and you wouldn't have had that initial not really backlash, but that initial issue where people were like kind of ragging the game for performance problems instead of the actual game itself.
For me, like a delay is never. I don't understand what people mean. A delay is never a bad thing.
No.
But don't sit here pretending like you're delaying something that you know you're not gonna release for a while yet. Like you don't pretend like you're gonna release it in March or some shit. Like no, this game was far from done and everything. You know it. So don't just. I don't like that they're calling it a delay because it's not a delay.
Oh, I call it a delay. They're just saying like there's no.
And I know that's
no window.
What they're saying. But if you're saying like we're like Q1 or Q3 whatever, and then you say we might move it to Q4 or whatever, that's a delay. If you say like it's gonna go like November 20th and then it's gonna do like January or something, that's a delay. But don't say like we have no idea how to make this work yet. We're gonna come in the next month. Yeah, it's gonna be delayed. Delayed from what?
And if you check out I'll send in case anybody hasn't read their official page. They have a video showing it running on the Switch, and it looks like it's run fine, but the camera, for whatever reason, is panning away from the screen, and I'll link this in the live chat.
Oh, you're talking to the guy actually playing the game?
It's a guy playing it, and I think maybe they're trying to say, hey, look, it's not a TV. He's playing it on the comfort of his couch, but it really takes away from being able to look at the gameplay or how the game's going to look. It's weird the way they decided to do that, but I think they did it because, hey, he's playing it relaxing on the couch. He's lying in bed.
Wow. So, I did want to mention something I thought was weird because I've noticed, and this is a little off topic, but since Tokyo Game Show just wrapped up like a few days ago, I wanted to mention it. I noticed that a lot of Switch ports of games have been adding like random motion control gimmicks, and one of the weirdest fucking things I saw is the Resident Evil Revelations has fucking motion controls, the IR pointer, touchscreen support, and amiibo support for it.
Wasn't the motion only for the scanner thing though, not the shooting?
It's for shooting.
It's for shooting, and it's also for reloading your gun and melee attacks.
I was watching that video. I'm like, I only noticed the real gyro aiming seemed to be apparent when she was scanning the environment. Like I was,
it's also for reloading your gun and
reloading with the IR sensor.
It looked like it didn't work the first time she tried it.
Yeah, the first time she tried it, it didn't work. But after that point, when she was playing it, it worked perfectly fine. So I
think that has to do with them being in a room with a bunch of wireless signals jumping all over the place.
I'm watching it right now, and I'm telling you, the aiming's with the analog stick because she's missed. It's straight up and down, left and right movements when she's shooting this thing.
I didn't really look at it, so I don't know. But I thought,
it's obvious when she's scanning that it's like Breath of the Wild. You can see the little jitters of hand shaking.
But I will say that's the kind of stuff that makes me take a second look, at a game that I bought. Because
that's a maybe thing for me.
But they have to. It has to be good. It can't be shit.
I'm about to say, to be fair, the game looks fine, but we're also talking about a game that originally came out on the PS3.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
a game that originally came out on the DS,
3DS.
Well, true.
I mean,
it's kind of like
I am feeling that because it's coming up on 2 years since frickin' Fatal Frame, and I'm like, I really liked that retro feel, the tank controls and stuff. And I was like, I am craving that kind of gameplay, and I never did
nice for Halloween.
I never played Revelations, so I'm just like, but then I'm gonna be sitting there because I'm forced. Aren't you forced to buy the second one or?
No, it's a download code.
Oh, if you download, but if you buy physical, it only, from what I understand, it only comes with the pack, but you can buy it digitally separate.
You can buy it digitally separate.
I don't think you can just buy one by itself physically.
I think they're doing it the way that like Bayonetta 3 did it, where it'll still equal to like $60, but like if you buy it digitally, it's like $30 for one and $30 for the other. I think. Yeah.
I don't really want two because I don't have an SD card yet, and I don't want that.
Trash.
Man, the girl up on stage ain't bad. I'll tell you that.
Why does this always happen?
What does that have to do with
It
anything?
always
girl.
happens.
Hey, girl. So yeah, I was like, I wouldn't mind just
She
playing.
can't hear you, Juice.
But yeah, so since we're kind of talking, because like to me, like if they would have had the gyro for aiming, like that would have really said, I'm gonna have to get this game. You know, it's cool for the scanning. I think even on the 3DS used gyro for scanning, if I remember the demo.
Yeah, the 3DS did.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Skyrim's motion controls look absolutely garbage.
I'm curious.
Which really saddens me.
I'm curious what the touchscreen support is though. Like, because they said the game supports touchscreen, so does that mean
Probably so like
when I'm playing
picking.
handheld mode?
Maybe you can pet your wife.
Just gimmicky stuff.
You bastard.
You could probably pick up things and stuff like that using it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess
inventory management. That's probably big inventory management.
Oh, thank God! I would love that.
Yeah, to have, except it's not a dual screen, so.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I don't know if the Wii U version of Revelations had that. That would have been nice.
I honestly don't remember. I barely played it.
All I played was the demo. I played the demo on the 3DS and the Wii U, and that was.
I think I bought it. I think I bought it when it was on. I think I bought it. It was on sale, like a Capcom sale. And then I never played the fucking game.
Never even played it. It was just sitting there.
Huh. Yeah. That's I did that for Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii U.
Oh, really?
For 1 hour.
Wow.
Wow.
1 hour. So. But okay, let's get into this main.
I have to say that real quick.
Oh.
Thanks for pointing out that panning thing. I've been staring at it for the last 10 minutes. I can't stop looking at it. It's so weird. The panning of the ukulele.
Oh yeah,
that's like
it's like really weird
because these characters moving away from the screen and the camera's panning out.
Yeah,
it's
like psychedelic.
It is, but all right, so. We got a lot of what's the word T uses when there's a lot of layers. Like you can't just look at something face value black or white. Like it's
layers.
Nuance. There's a lot of nuance in this next discussion, but I want to start it off with going back to the Wii U and the gamepad. I was thinking about this a lot lately, actually. And I was thinking about, Mario Maker, 200 hours, pretty much 90% of that it was on the gamepad off TV. And then Xenoblade, I probably put 50, 60 hours off TV. And then I'm thinking about like Mario Kart and Bayonetta 2 and stuff. And I'm like, man, I can't even remember ever playing like Bayonetta 2 off TV on the Wii U and stuff. So I can't like track it with factual numbers. All I can say for sure is like the Wii U for me, certain games was like majority off TV, like Mario Maker for obvious reasons, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, obvious reasons. And then there's other games like Smash Brothers and stuff, which I almost never played off TV. So I'm kind of thinking, how does that correlate with my Switch? And I kind of realize it's like the same thing. Like I would say 90% of my Switch playtime's on the dock, except for when I got Mario plus Rabbids. And I would say like that, almost that whole game I played in portable mode minus maybe a couple hours. So so the topic is, we're going to obviously get into the whole Doom frame rate and all that difference. But the question I want to ask is, how often, if you guys could just put it into numbers, like an estimated percentage, do you play your Switch in portable mode or versus docked? And I'm, anything away from the dock, I guess. So undocked versus docked, whether it's tabletop or portable mode. And then if you want to like kind of try to think back to the Wii U time, how often did you use the off screen? And I forgot to point out, like we're all fans of the gamepad, I think, here in this group. So we all enjoyed the gamepad, the second screen, the off TV stuff, the touch screen. So I think it's fair to say we all were fans. There's other YouTubers out there that were every chance they got bashing the gamepad. I want to play my game on the TV. That's all I bought an expensive HD TV. I want to play my game on that. I don't want to have to look down at the screen. Type of sentiment. So let's start. T, what do you think? I know you're a little bit different. You were traveling recently and you got kids and stuff, so you're not always just able to sit down and play. So what do you think your Switch playtime is, docked versus undocked?
Oh, it's funny you should ask that because I recently recorded a video for Pharrell.
Eat a dick. I'm so mad. You always did. I feel like you do it at this point. Just fight me sometimes. It's like, hey man, guess what? I got a video. Go check it out. Man, T, you got a lot of views on your channel. How the fuck did that happen?
I recently recorded a video that I'll be putting up sometime tonight. That I actually say this, which is it really is timely. I think around 70 to 80% docked, and the rest portable. And for somebody like me, like I said, obviously it was really cool to have that thing on the plane this past weekend. But I also mentioned that as a dad, I think I mentioned this on Playability, since it's P Cross Nintendo podcast, that I always feel bad about like going into my my gaming dungeon, my gaming room, hermit room, away from my family, and just gaming while they're all in the living room doing whatever. Now I can take my console experience outside of my gaming hermit dungeon and like be at least around my family while I play video games in the living room. So that's where another maybe 10% of me gaming off the dock goes. So that is a very cool thing.
And you're currently mainly working from home versus somebody who goes to work and is away from home for 10 hours a day.
Right.
What do you think about Wii U? What do you think your off TV percentage was for Wii U? I mean, it's hard to really say, but
5%. It was pretty low.
Okay.
A lot of it had to do with because the screen was good, but I think on the Wii U was you're dealing with 480p versus an HD signal coming out of your TV, so it was a little easier to kind of dismiss the Wii U's off TV stuff. I did use it, obviously, like you mentioned, like Mario Maker is pretty much essential, and then Kirby and stuff. But I mostly enjoyed the second screen experience, like with games like DSF and stuff. So
okay. All right, Terrell, what do you think the breakdown is for you?
For Switch, I would say it's probably like 60-40, where I play 60% in console, docked, and I play like 40 in handheld. And part of the reason why is because, for one, I can take the Switch to work and play it on breaks, or if it's like really slow and shit. And I remember, and I was sitting there, I've been thinking back to the games. Mario Rabbids, I played a lot of that undocked. I've been playing Bomberman. It was the same thing. ARMS, I've played surprisingly a lot undocked. Not as much as that one's still more docked than undocked. But I've played almost every main game I've bought for the Switch so far a good amount of time undocked, and in some cases, like the majority of time. So I'm surprised how much. If I feel like if I wasn't including Zelda, it probably might be more undocked than docked at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember you saying that a while back.
And it's a weird thing because it's not even like one of those situations where I'm going somewhere. Like sometimes I'll literally be in my room looking at my monitor, and I just find it easier just to pick the thing out of the dock and just play it. Like it's weird. I wouldn't even. It's like I'd rather just do that than to just go and switch my monitor to the whatever HDMI output I'm doing. So it trips me out. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
All right, and what do you think the Wii U off TV play? Did you do the same thing in the Wii U? Because you could your Wii U in your room and stuff like that. You probably could get to everywhere in your room and have signal on your gamepad, I'm guessing.
I probably could, but I didn't do that. Particularly because half the games I was playing, there was no like if we were playing Smash, almost all of that was on the monitor. Or Shantae, I think, might have been one of the exceptions, and even then, I don't think that's true. Like, because Fatal Frame, you couldn't do it, really.
Splatoon, you couldn't at all.
Splatoon, you couldn't. I'm missing it. Oh, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I couldn't. Pokken Tournament, I could, but I never really wanted to. Like, most of the... I would say it's probably like maybe like almost like 5, maybe 10% off TV play. It's very low, surprisingly low.
All right, Robert, what do you think your percentages of Switch?
Okay, so I think for me, it's got to probably be 90% docked, 10% undocked for Switch, because I know that 10%, it was sometimes when I would bring it on break for Zelda for work. I know I would bring it for Zelda. I haven't really done it very often now with some other games, but like for Zelda, yeah, I remember I did that a lot because I would always maybe do a shrine or something, and that was freaking awesome. And then for the Wii U, I'd say probably basically 100%. When not off TV play, you know, on the TV. I love the gamepad for, you know, what it was, not really to play games just on that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I just love that controller in general, like everything about it. I mean, now it feels kind of weird when you when you go back to it, but like, I probably played some off TV play. If anything, what I did was I might have put the Smash Brothers soundtrack on while I was maybe watching something on. That might have been a thing. I know I've done that a few times. But probably it's just the Switch kind of put me towards the mindset where I can take this Zelda on the go. Not really in terms of my Wii U, because it would, if I'm in my room, I'm going to play it on the TV.
That's true.
So that was for me. Yeah.
And I know somebody in the chat saying their Switch has been docked since they opened it and put it on the dock at launch, and that's crazy for me to believe. But I mean, I guess take your word on it. That's how I thought I'd be.
Because I didn't think I'd be taking the thing on very much at all.
I take that. Wait, hold on a second. I take that back. I'm gonna say 80-20 because you know what? There was a good amount of times I forgot at the end of school year last year. I brought my Switch like every goddamn day to school, and I played. I forgot about that. I played Mario Kart and Minecraft. I remember that. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. So like 80-20.
Yeah, before football season, I was probably 92 to 8%, and then since then, I've probably been almost 50-50. Because you know, it feels nice to know that the game's on, even if I can't watch every second of like the Giants playing something, you know, on Sunday night or something like, or another team I'm not super interested in. I like to have it on and be able to check the scores and stuff and see what's happening, whether I'm paying full attention. So
to me, it's like Sunday night's game.
Definitely, I wasn't playing video games when my team's playing, but that last Sunday night, you know, sorry about that team, but
yeah, sorry for fans of those teams. I was completely bored watching either one of those teams.
So Retro Death, what do you think your percentage is, docked versus undocked?
With the Wii U, I have to agree with what Robert said. To me, the Wii U was made for a dual screen experience. That's why I loved it. And I don't care what anybody says. People who bought a Wii U, who bought first-party games, who bought third-party games, had enough games that used this properly. For the Wii U, it was 100% just Mario Maker. I played that off TV, and for the rest, nothing at all. Because with Mario Maker, you're using the gamepad anyway, so you're not looking at the TV at all when you're building. You're not like looking at the TV.
Even when you like play a section. I found myself, I'd be playing a section, and I still wasn't looking at the TV, so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna turn the TV off.
So I just put some show on the background or something, and with the Switch, it's almost similar. It's like maybe 95% docked. I think once, like my brother a couple of months ago, he was in the hospital. I took the Switch with me so we could play Street Fighter there in tabletop mode. While I'm watching some TV, if there's this show like, I don't know, like Kitchen Nightmare, something that you don't need to pay attention to, but you still want a game, I maybe play some Zelda or Splatoon in tabletop mode. And maybe once or twice when I'm playing Mario and Rabbids, and I have to like take a shit or something, I pick it up and I take it to the toilet. That's it. But it's like 95% the thing is docked.
All right, so I was hoping for a little more percentage in the undocked, you know, to kind of make this discussion a little less one-sided, but it's still, there's 2 points I was really going to go for by first finding out how often you play in portable mode. The other question I was going to ask is there a game you play in portable mode more than docked and vice versa? Like, for me, if I look at Mario Kart, Splatoon, Fast RMX, those games, each one have less than an hour off, you know, undocked on each one of those. So majority of the 10 plus hours in Fast, the 60 hours in Splatoon, 45 hours in Mario Kart was docked, like an hour or less on each game undocked for those games. Breath of the Wild, I probably got closer to 30, 40 hours in portable mode. And then Mario plus Rabbids almost exclusively in portable mode. Same with Steamworld Dig 2. So I've noticed subconsciously, I guess I wasn't even thinking about it, there's certain games that I play in portable mode and other games I didn't. So I was trying to think about, you know, what the reason was. So if anybody remembers my impressions of Mario plus Rabbids, you remember what I was saying, like one of my favorite aspects about the game was that it was like the best of all the games I had to play portably, and also play portably while trying to like watch a game or like watch football or watch a show or something, because it's just so relaxed. It's turn-based. You can, you know, just sit there and wait. You know, you don't have to constantly be doing something. So is there a game for you guys that you feel like for sure, like this game's great and portable, or this game I'd rather just play docked? If there is one or isn't one, I guess. All right, T, why don't you go first?
Maybe it's games that I've already played and beaten, because I love Lego City Undercover portable. Like, I almost exclusively play that now portably. And I think maybe that has to do with the fact, like I said, I went through the game and I got to see it all on the big screen and all the cutscenes and all that stuff. So that stuff isn't as important to me, where in Zelda it was. I wanted to see, you know, the big cutscenes and all that stuff on my big screen. But I feel like Skyrim is definitely going to be 50-50 or less, or, you know, more portable, for sure. And so I just think it's going to be games like that, like you mentioned. I definitely play Rabbids more portably. That's probably your influence. But yeah, I mean, I think games like that. What else is coming? For LA Noire, I think I'm gonna play that mostly portable too.
And like Stardew Valley and
Stardew Valley. Yeah, definitely indie games. Indie games, for sure. I play for the most part portably more. So.
All right, who wants to go next? Tro, what do you think?
I have a couple, actually. I would say Bomberman I played more in handheld. Sonic Mania I played more in handheld. Mario and Rabbids I played more than handheld. I will say I agree with T about giving what?
Voice explosion.
Okay.
I'm outside.
I agree with T on the thought process that if games you've beaten, because I rebought Shantae because I'm bitch made. And I've played that game almost entirely handheld so far. I would say those three games specifically, I've played more in handheld than I have in console mode, and it's primarily just because. But I noticed that those are kind of like pick up and play games. Like Zelda, to me, you can do it, but I feel like for an epic adventure, it just feels kind of off to play it handheld. Not that you can't, it's just I don't really do it. It also works for like Splatoon and ARMS when I want to go in and do something real quick and get out. Like a lot of that, like, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20 minute jump in, jump out kind of gaming totally works. With Zelda, you're not jumping in for no 5 minutes. That's usually like a good hour of stuff you're gonna go do. It's like a dedication. So like, to me, it's kind of like if you want to do bite-sized chunks, you end up playing those games more in handheld.
And if it's one of those like I can't wait to get home to play this game. Like for me, I played Zelda at work, and I get about 35, 40 minutes after I eat to play. It's just like I need to be playing this game right now. So that was the driving force, not necessarily like, oh, this is best experienced in portable. It was just I really wanted to play it.
Like it was convenient. For me, I definitely like the attention that the Switch brings. So
he's an attention for everybody.
I'm gonna admit it. I will admit it. I like games like a Zelda, and I'm sure it's gonna be like that with Skyrim and Doom and all that stuff. That will get eyes peering over it. Like, wow, that's.
Anybody say anything on the plane?
Definitely. That's definitely happened to me while I was playing Zelda on the plane. I could feel the eyes peering through from the seat behind me, and I look and the chick and the guy were watching.
guys, you wouldn't know it.
You're like,
I was totally like trying to angle my.
Hold on, got three people talking.
I was totally like angling my Switch better so they could see through the crack of the seat.
He might be in the voyeurism, everybody. I'm just wondering.
Did you bring your Pro controller?
I had my Pro controller. Yeah, I had it on.
That's what I thought.
And I propped it up tabletop mode on the little fold out table thing that comes out of the seat. So that was definitely I kind of like the. Let the Switch shine out there when I'm out and about, and the people getting them to look. And because, like I said, that's one of the best commercials for the Switch that Nintendo doesn't have to pay for, is that freaking handheld mode, that on the go stuff.
And that's the thing.
It's impressive.
That's the thing that's actually going to sell the Switch. What you should have done, it's like this dude, like you done on some Street Fighter, some shit. You click off the Joy-Con, you give him one, and you can play together. That is insane.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit hard for them to try to play through that slit in the seat.
No, I will say that I remember I've been on a flight multiple times with the Switch now, and I remember when I first went on. This was back in April, and I remember both me and my stepdad both had a Switch. So we were playing Zelda, and the one guy's like, "Oh, how is that, by the way?" And we're like, "Oh, it's great." He's like, "Yeah, I want one of those. I gotta get one of those." Like, people already knew what it was by April, and then I played it while going to LA. I was playing Splatoon. I was playing some missions, just trying to get stuff like that. Like it's awesome that you could do that, and that's why I always said, I can't wait to play, these handheld games, 3DS style games that will always be on consoles now. But all those console games that I could keep playing, even better. So it blows my mind. It's
gonna be all on one device, like that's
all on one device, and that's why how we always say, like how Juicy always say, well, Animal Crossing works best on a mobile, and I think, well, no, but it works best on a console. It doesn't even matter now because
it doesn't matter.
Because now it's like. It's going to be on
I say
both.
mobile, I mean smartphones. To me, that seems like the best fit for it. But anyway.
But you know what I mean.
All right. So, Retro, Robert, do you have a game that definitely you prefer one way or the other? Or
prefer if I would play any that, like I played probably actually majority of Mario Kart Portable, actually. Because that a lot of times, again, I was playing at school. I played a lot of Minecraft at school, and it was cool to play that. So I think it would be those two.
You can play that portably? Good for you, man. Because
I can't play 260
fast.
Really? I don't know. I did pretty good. I beat him. I beat these guys.
All right, Retro. I know you played mostly docked, so it's.
Yeah, for me, it's more like I prefer playing docked most of the time. It's just I like the idea though, because it has happened a couple of times. That, like I said, like when my brother's in the hospital, or when I go out, when I visit another of my brother who doesn't have it. Like I like the idea that I can just like flip it out and it works. But I barely use it. I prefer playing docked, and it's what I do most.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And games wise, there's like I said, there's nothing I prefer. Like with Mario Maker on the Wii U, there was a clear definition. I preferred playing it off TV, but it was the only game both systems like put together. Like I just prefer having things on the big screen. I just can't play in handheld mode when I have my TV right here when I don't need to.
Mm-hmm. I will say, like Mario plus Rabbids, like when I was like, I played the first like hour of it in portable, and I docked it. I'm just like, there's really no benefit to having it on my TV, right? Like that was the one game that stood out. That was the first time where I was just like, I might as well just play it in portable mode and have like a show like if anybody has a sci-fi channel, that Face Off or Game Face now, where the competition type shows are like Chopped, Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. You know, shows like that. It's nice to have on, and I just could, for whatever reason, Mario plus Rabbids spoke to me more.
I think Mario plus Rabbids is because of the nature of its camera. Like it's a kind of a top-down slanted view, and you know you don't like need a huge TV to show you that. You know you can enjoy that on a smaller screen.
And it looks good. I think it looks
and it
good
looks
in
great.
portable mode. I was a little expecting a little more when I docked it actually, and I didn't get as much of a jump as some other games. So
I think the main reason why Mario plus Rabbids, because that is the #1 game I would say in the entire Switch library, which is almost made for it. I feel because of that it is turn based. It is not like active gameplay. So like I think that's why it works so well.
And let me ask: did anybody else get those like gel grips for the Joy-Cons that slide on and give you a little something to hold on to while you're playing in portable mode?
I ordered them, but
no.
Because I don't remember how long ago I got those, a couple months probably, and I was trying to play Fast RMX after the update, and I forget when that came out. I think there was a Thursday night football game around or something. Might have been preseason, and I'm like, I want to play this, but so I pull off the dock, and because of the way the ones I have just little circles cut out for the buttons, and so the buttons are actually recessed. Now the Skyrim ones that comes in like that, I don't know if that's a GameStop exclusive set, but it's like a whole opening cut out for the buttons, so the buttons aren't recessed. I was having trouble hitting the X button because I use that to switch phases on fast. So I took off the grips, and I gotta tell you, I could not. It felt unplayable. I had nothing to hold on to because I forgot how like the Joy-Cons are just flush with the back of the Switch, and it's just super smooth plastic. I could not play that game. I had to put the gel grips back on. It was literally unplayable to my hands after being used to those grips. That was one of the best, I think, $8-9 I've ever spent for a gaming device, because that makes portability like really enjoyable, and without it I really couldn't see myself ever playing portable again without those grips on.
That reminds me of like the big plastic kind of clear thing I bought for my Wii U gamepad. That I had. I think Levels had one too. I think it's like basically it's like plastic shell to cover your gamepad. And I remember taking that thing off because it gets nasty, especially it's clear, so you can see all the dust up in there. So I remember taking it off, and I was just like, I'm not going to use this anymore. And it took me a minute to get used to holding the gamepad without all that extra grip. So
I just linked in the live chat. I linked the ones I got, and I'm telling you, they're only $6.99, especially if you're a Prime member and you don't have to pay shipping. It is a lifesaver for me, and they have other color options. They got this nice gray one actually that looks kind of like the NES. But
has anybody seen the those you can buy the color shells and whatnot for your Joy-Cons? You can replace them like with clear or
I didn't know that was a mod. Cool. Like you have to like take the insides out, right?
You have to be somewhat comfortable with like pulling apart small electronic parts and stuff.
You gotta be a man's man.
Yeah, which I'm pretty good at that stuff. But
and those things I linked, it works. I use it in split Joy-Con, which I haven't done split Joy-Con in a month at least. But it works. I use it mainly when attached to the console, so it's basically like a handheld, and that's doesn't look like much, but that just having that texture and that little bit of a bump makes that thing just a dream to hold. So anyway, with all that out of the way, we kind of established we're not the other than Terrell, we don't play the most, portable mode. But I do want to agree with the sentiment that just about everybody has. Like one of the best like selling points of the Switch is that you can take your games on the go, like he did with Zelda on the plane. Like, to me, I agree that's a big selling point for sure.
Yeah, some guy replied saying I'm sold when he saw my tweet, which was kind of cool. So
yeah, I mean, anybody didn't disagree with that's probably the biggest selling point of the Switch, I guess, other than the just lineup of games. I mean, to me, to take out the games, obviously
I totally agree, and I think it's not just that you can do that because my PSP, I can play it on the TV if I want. It comes with those. Well, you don't come with it. You got to buy the cables or whatever. But it's the intuitive nature of how it works. How you can just pull it right out of the dock. And
it's like a PSP. You can put it on the TV, but you can't put your PS4 in your pocket.
Right. Obviously, I'm just saying, like, this is not the first device where you can play it on the TV, and obviously there's some differences.
But Game Boy Player let you kind of do that.
Right. But it's the intuitive. Again, it's the intuitive nature, just sliding it in out in the dock, and you're ready to play. And pulling it out, and you're ready to play. It's just that easy.
And the benefit of that is when your power goes out, you don't lose. Your system doesn't even care. It's like crazy.
Which has happened to me multiple times.
Yeah, it happened to me twice.
It'll light up to let you know that you're running on, Switch power, basically running on tablet power, but
I'm like,
it'll go off.
It's like, fuck! I had it resumed. I didn't have Zelda saved. It was just resumed, and it's like, oh wait, I didn't lose anything. My PS4, I got to reboot the damn thing like a PC. But anyway, so I want to address a few things. Last week at the end of the podcast, I said we were going to talk about, at the time, we didn't know. I was going to say, hey, I want to talk about what do you guys think happens if Doom ends up running at 30 instead of 60 and stuff like that. Well, that was confirmed. And I took a stance, kind of gave my opinion. We had a lot of other people. I felt there was some cheerleading going on, and it didn't get nasty or anything, but it definitely was a divisive thing. And it's like, so I made my juice opinions like, hey, this is why I'm not buying Doom again, but, here's reasons you should if you haven't played it and stuff like that. And I just been thinking about it all weekend, and I'm just like, there's so many little nuances going on here. I wanted to get your guys' take. You don't have to agree. That's, last week we had a little disagreement about the whole digital downloads on cartridges and all that. I don't want to hopefully it doesn't get in any kind of debate, but don't feel obligated obviously to agree with anyone here. Be honest, give your opinion. So for me, I'm going to call out all the people that chat on the Wii U and the gamepad and the 3DS. Every time you'd see 3DS in the Nintendo Direct, well, I just bought a beautiful HD TV. I got a nice 4K TV. I got a 1080p. I want to play my games on that. I want to play my games on my TV. And now the same people, every chance they get, well, the Switch is the better version because I can play it portably. I can play it away from my TV. I can play it on, when my family in the living room. I can play it laying down in bed. It's like, to me, those two things don't go together. You can't hate the gamepad because you want to play all your games on the TV and you think it's dumb being able to play it on a gamepad, to now every time there's a game multi-plat, you have to get the Switch version because of portability. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about Doom running at 30 frames per second. And so far, from what we can tell, the visuals are obviously downgraded versus the other versions. So my question is portability a reason to buy the Switch version in every situation of a multiplayer? Let's say a bunch more games in the next 6 months get announced, hey, this game's coming, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Is the portability just the end-all? There's no argument. It's portable, so it's the best version, or that's the version to buy. Do you guys feel that that's something that, the portability trumps all? So
sure,
anybody?
Seems like it. It sure seems like it, doesn't it? That's all you keep hearing.
It feels like it.
Kind of strange. It's kind of strange. like you said. Although I will, play a little bit of devil's advocate, even though I completely agree with what you're saying. The gamepad screen again was not nearly as good as the Switch screen, so they have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, the Switch does look good. The tablet screen does look nice.
Yeah. So they have a little bit of wiggle room with that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a tiny screen, and you have your big. I got my big HD TV. I want to play on my big beautiful screen, so that doesn't change. But I mean, you're right. I think for certain people that's a big thing. I mentioned that I bought Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS, and it's like, why would you buy that? I have the Wii version. I played the crap out of that game, beat it. Like, why would you play or buy that game for the 3DS? And to me, it's just a marvel. It's like it's like a showcase thing. It's like, how did they get this huge game on this little device? And so for me personally, that's a cool thing to be able to play those games like that. But I don't know. That's for some of these people. I don't know if they could be claiming that.
I feel like all of us can say that because we like the gamepad, even though Retro kind of said he only used it for the split, him and Robert. But I feel like anyone that shunned the 3DS in the gamepad because of I want to play it on my TV is now toting the I love it on Switch because it's portable. Like, to me, like, I don't want to hear certain people say that because it holds no water. Like, I don't know.
The thing is, because a lot of people are like with the Wii U gamepad, like, I'm not taking it here and there, whatever, I want it on my TV, so whatever. And then a game gets announced for the 3DS, and then people complain that it's not on the Switch. And why do you want it on the Switch? To play it in portable mode. That doesn't make sense. Then why are you complaining it's on the 3DS in the first place?
Right.
They want it on Switch because it's going to have better visuals, which is another point I want to get to.
It's a talking point thing where, we were trying to say that was an advantage on the Wii U, but nobody was buying it. Nobody was buying the Wii U the way they're buying the Switch. So you can say that on the Switch and it have more merit because it's selling. Like I said, those sales cure all ails.
What do you feel about the novelty of, like, hey, look at Doom in portable. Look how it's impressive having that game in portable mode. Is that still a novelty because it's only been 6 months?
No, well, here's the thing, because I think it is portability, but there's a different side to it. I don't think gets brought up as much. It's that weird convenience factor. It's not even like, oh, well, the game, it's just crazy that it's running on it. It's like, if you're a gamer, you're playing a lot of games. And a lot of us own multiple systems. And sometimes you don't get the games because you're playing on your Switch, and it's like, I don't necessarily want to go through the effort of switching to my PlayStation 4 to finish Yakuza or wherever. So what you do is you're just kind of like, the thing about the Switch that makes it way more appealing to do is I just got to pick it up. It might be in sleep mode. I might have to cut it on, but I can pick it up. Whereas with the PS4, it's that whole, you got to wait for it to boot up, wait for it to load everything. It's like this weird, it's weird because, obviously back in the day, you had to do way more than that to get a game to start. So it's like, it shouldn't be that big of a difference, but it kind of is. Like, I want to play Doom on my Switch because maybe I don't feel like going through the effort of turning on my PS4 and playing it on there.
Well, the PS4 sleep mode, it does boot up relatively quick, though, to be
honest.
No,
I'm not doubting it. It's just, you can't deny picking up the Switch and taking out sleep mode. It's just quicker. It's not insanely quicker, but it is quicker, and I don't have to necessarily cut on my monitor or anything. I can literally just grab it. It's a weird convenience thing.
And for you, obviously, you said you played in portable almost. It's pretty even for you.
Yeah.
So that's a draw to you. So let me ask. Let's see. I don't know if I want to switch gears yet. Robert, you got any thoughts?
What I was gonna say is, I never 100% cared for the 3DS. I think it's been pretty stated, pretty clear, pretty obvious. But I love the fact that the Switch is portable. The reason is because I've always said I would love to play my 3DS games on my TV. But the whole thing is that what's great about the Switch is I could continue I'm not forced to only play on the TV, or I'm not only forced to play it on the handheld. That's why I like having the options of doing both, you know, in a matter of a split second. And that's why like,
yeah, that's the difference.
And the words of
You know,
Braveheart, freedom.
you know what I mean?
And the 3DS, honestly, the 3DS for me has always been a little uncomfortable to
And it's
hold
been,
and
yeah, I
play.
totally agree. I think it's a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think it's 100%.
If I could buy a grip for it, I would have saved myself a lot of agony.
Yeah,
but
but
That's
you buy the grip and that's more crap to carry. I had the grip for it, and I just stopped using it because I didn't want to freaking carry the thing
just
around.
like thinking about bringing a Pro controller along with my Switch is not the most
and
appealing.
that's the thing, because we all here understand, like, yeah, it's great when a game comes to the Switch because you can choose, you can undock it whenever you want, when you have to leave quickly, when you go somewhere, you have this option. But what a lot of people, though, they mix it up. A lot of people claim, like, yeah, this game will be great on the Switch because of portability, like, as in because I can play it in portable mode. But it's like not every game is actually made or better in that mode. Like, it's not all games are better because you can play them in portable. No, it's great that a game gets released on the Switch because you have the option. But a game isn't automatically better because you can play it in portable. It's actually the opposite. Like, not all games even play very well in portable mode, especially with the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I wanted to. Damn it, I forgot the one point. But anyway, let's get to Terrell. I'm gonna ask you something. I don't know. I think you said it on air before. You have a decision when it comes to Sonic Forces.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've made a decision yet, but can you tell the people the decision and the factors in your decision was relating to Sonic Forces?
Okay, well, so here's the situation. As far as from what we've seen of Sonic Forces, we know it runs 60 on the PlayStation 4. Like, that's been pretty much confirmed. But the rumor for the Switch is that it runs 30 frames. And so my decision is whether or not I want to play it on the Switch or PS4, which right now is primarily based on the frame rate. Because the game looks good. It's not a graphical thing from what I've seen of the game. It looks good. It's primarily the frame rate right now is my issue.
So the Switch, you're still considering the Switch because of the portable nature, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like I have yet to pre-order the game primarily because of it.
All right, and I remember I think you said that last week. So, every time someone starts talking, I remember what I want to say, and then as soon as Mike comes back to me, then I'm like, "Fuck!" I was like, "I'm gonna write it down this time." Like, no, I'll remember. And of course, I keep forgetting. So, Sonic Forces. Let's see. Oh, it's the factor of your console of choice too. We gotta take that into consideration as Nintendo fans. Your console of choice. If a game, I'll just throw this out. If all things being considerably equal, I'm gonna get the Switch version, just because that's my favorite console to play. Plus, the option to take it to work on launch and play, or I can while football's on. So the factor that it's my console of choice is also a factor. And I want to leave that out in case anybody was hearing us talk and is like, obviously you guys are Nintendo fans, so that's your console of choice. So Sonic Forces, anybody else have that dilemma? Because I know pretty much all of us have multiple systems. So
I'm picking it up on the Switch either way. I don't care. Like, I never care about 30 or 60. It's not a bother to me. And when I think of the Switch instantly, like I said, I barely played in portable mode, but I've used it and I like the option of taking it on the go. So I'm getting it on the Switch for that. Like, I'd sacrifice those frames for that aspect.
Grunt just made a great comment. So.
But here's the thing, like, I only care about 30 versus 60 if 30 becomes 21 or 19 frames per second, and if 60 drops down to 40, it's not as bad. You still, you can still play. For the most part, you don't even see it. It doesn't bother you. So that is my worry. But looking at Doom, and me believing that it's pretty close to lock 30, I don't see 30 frames even on Sonic bothering me. So that is the main thing. It's like, if it's solid, and then looking at NBA 2K, like, it looks great to me. Like, the speed of it is fine to me. It looks good. So it's just like, now it's just like, well, what am I, what do I want more? What are the options per console? We can leave that frame rate and graphics thing alone. I have more options on my Switch than I do anywhere else. So, that's where I'm at.
And that's a good point. I mean, it sucks. It breaks my heart when Zelda drops to 20 frames per second. That's such a bummer. It's the only blemish on that game.
Not gonna lie, Mario plus Rabbids has that issue too.
Yeah, during like where it's showing you the characters getting shot and stuff, like there's some definite slowdown, but you're not controlling anything at that moment. So
yeah, it's an RPG, so it doesn't. It's like a Fire Emblem type RPG, so it doesn't tick me off nowhere near as much.
It's during the thing you're not controlling. So let me bring this up because obviously I made my video and I didn't even bring this part up. I mentioned a few games, like I mentioned Snake Pass, because that game was 30 on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Obviously, the Switch version didn't have some of the effects and sharpest textures, but it was pretty comparable. Indie games like Steamworld Dig 2, like there's going to be no difference between PS4 and Xbox One and Switch. Like there's no visual frame, nothing. It's identical. It's 1080p, 60 frames per second. There's nothing changing unless the PS4 Pro, I guess, has a 4K option or something. So we've had quite a few games with indie games. Lego City, I think there was the indoor sections on the PS4 ran at 60, if I recall.
Yeah, it was a weird thing they did.
Yeah, but for the most part, most of the games up until NBA, they announced at 30 that worked. The only difference was a resolution and some quality of textures. We hadn't seen a significant sacrifice on frame rate up to that point. So at all those other games that are cross-platform, mostly indie games and stuff, the portability was really the only thing that differentiated the two, the versions. I mean, other than Snake Pass, to me, Snake Pass looks good. Doesn't look amazing on the Switch. It looks really good on PC, but that was a pretty small sacrifice. There was no other sacrifice. So when I was talking about Doom and NBA, I was a little like sucked that they dropped the frame rate, even if it is steady. And I'm not saying it's unplayable. I mean, 30 is definitely playable. But when you start getting less parity, let's say, as a PS4 owner and I have a PC, all of a sudden it's not just, it's a little bit of resolution or some texture work here. Now it's that plus frame rate. That's where I was starting to say, hold up, like you can't just say it's portable and cover all that stuff up. For me, I played Doom at 60, I think 60 plus actually at times if I leave it on high settings and not put it on ultra. That game is one of the more precise playing, like I think I said this in my game of the year last year. It has to be one of the best controlling first person perspective games I've ever played in my life. Not using mouse and keyboard. I don't even want to get into that debate. I never played that way, but as far as on a controller, the new Doom 2016 it has some of the best controls I've ever experienced in my life in a first person game, period. Like I said that maybe in my impressions, probably in the game of the year talk too, because it was like number 2, I think, and if I'm remembering for 2016. It seems like so long ago.
Yeah.
So for me, how much of that is the 60 frames and how much of that is just code and programming for controls? I don't know.
I did have a counter to that point you had brought up in your Juice Opinions. And I'm going to use Sonic Mania to prove it. And maybe Rhyme to a lesser extent, because I've heard some early impressions talking about Rhyme not necessarily running as well. The one thing we got to remember is that most of the third-party games we're getting aren't being ported by the actual developer. They're being ported by like a third-party company. For example, how Mania has that weird 5 frame rate drops on the Switch, even though we all know that game should be able to run 100% the same as it does on the other versions. But it's Tantalus who ported that game. It wasn't Sega who ported it. The same argument could be made for Doom, because Doom is not being ported by Bethesda, and I'm pretty sure Wolfenstein won't be either. And we already know Rocket League isn't. I think part of that is right now we're still in the proving yourself phase for the Switch. I think if they see that the games are selling, then they'll actually devote like development teams are working on the games. So I wonder if the compromise we're getting on Doom is more of the inexperience of the developer porting the game than the actual console not being able to do it.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that's kind of a separate discussion.
Tantalus ain't no slouch either, though. Like,
no, Tantalus is a good developer. There's no reason those bonus stages in Sonic, like, there's absolutely no reason for slowdown.
Yeah,
but the rest of the game
runs fine.
It's spotless. Like, there's no difference visually in standard PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
And I don't think it's so much like an apples to oranges thing where it's just like, well, these guys aren't good enough to do it. I also think the fact that, you know, the Switch is a little different. So there's different, you know, you got to do some more stuff. You can't just, because, you know, the PS4 and Xbox One are very close to a PC, which a lot of these games, or most all these games, are developed on to begin with. So there's that. Whereas with the Switch, you got to do a little something different for the you know, the architecture.
Yeah, it's a time frame thing on top
right.
of the fact that it's a different architecture.
So I wouldn't be surprised, like, next year, oh, there's a 60 frames per second patch for Doom or something. Once they get more acclimated to the hardware and they can figure it out better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because they did that with Bomberman.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally
so I mean,
this game.
I saw a bunch of people saying, well, maybe in docked it'll be 60, and like I don't think we'll ever see a frame rate jump going from dock to portable. Like, to me, that changes the gameplay experience
too much. Yeah.
But again, like, from what I saw, Doom, even though the people that had hands-on with whatever build, whatever version is, they said there's obvious slowdown in areas with a lot of stuff going on. They didn't say how significant. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm hearing, like I said, people like, oh, it's portable. So, and I know the Switch is definitely less powerful. But I'm thinking, what's this docked? When it's docked, how is it going to compare to what I'm used to seeing? And for me, I know that the sacrifice isn't worth it to replay the game. Now, it'd be different if I never played the game. And I think if the 30 is locked and it's fluid, I still don't know if it can have that buttery smooth controls. If they can pull off that, that's going to be what makes or breaks it for me. You know, if I played it down the road.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If they can get that, just, I mean, I don't know how to describe the perfectness of the controls. I'm using Xbox One controller on my PC, and Doom it's so responsive. It's effortless. It's like, it just feels right in every single way. And if they can somehow capture that with the Pro controller, that to me would make it irrelevant what the frame rate is. And I don't know how much of that's the frame rate and how much of that is just really good coding. I'm not tech savvy like that, so I don't know if there's a correlation in the controls.
I will say that I don't think this game was made for you or people like you and mine.
Mm-hmm.
People who played it. I played the demo on my PC, and obviously I had, you know, this 1080 60, and game was phenomenal on PC. And it's, you know, visually you're gonna lose, and frame rate you're gonna lose. So I'm not sure this is made for somebody who has just already gone through the game on a more powerful console or PC. Mm-hmm. This is probably something for those, you know, middle of the road gamers who haven't played Doom yet, or who don't care that they played it that way. They just want to be able to, you know, go through it again. Because I've heard people who played the game who just said, man, it's gonna be cool to go through it again portably. So that's, you know, a selling point for them. So
that's true, and I can't deny, like, even with all that, when I watched, I think it was who had the best off-screen footage? Was it GameSpot? Yeah.
GameSpot, yeah.
When I seen that, I ain't gonna lie, there's a part of me just like, that's impressive. That's so awesome to see. But again, off-screen TV, off-screen capture hides a lot of, you know, some people think that's the lesser, but it actually hides a lot of, you know, you're not gonna be able to, you'll just be able to write it off as that's off-screen footage.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, I don't know if I'm sure you watch or listen to NBC. I remember when they were talking about the Switch possibly getting that stupid pocket edition of Final Fantasy 15, and like I never thought that was gonna happen, but I remember like a couple of them being like, "Oh, that would be cool," because they played the game, they know Final Fantasy 15 through and through, and they thought, it just will be cool to be able to see that game in that chibi style. And it's the entire game; it's the same game, but it looks so different.
Yeah, I kind of like that art style. But...
I think there's some of that in there, for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I can't sit there like I said, I still find it impressive, but I also get gotten a little bit annoyed with the dismissal of the downgrade versus the other versions because of the portability, because the other factor is something I said in my Juice Opinions, which I set up earlier by asking if there's a game you like to play. I cannot even begin to think why anybody would want to play Doom like in portable mode, as far as just the actual control and how frantic it is. Like I can't, like Fast RMX to me is nearly unplayable in portable mode. It's so factually unplayable that I get like 4th and 5th in the cups in portable mode, but on TV I'm like usually first, sometimes second. Like it affects my ability to play that game good. And that's how I feel having played Doom. Like that's so frantic. Like Retro was hinting at earlier, we talked off air before the start, the Joy-Cons, the analog sticks don't have much travel. I mean, it's barely, compared to the Pro Controller, there's not much travel there. And the way the analog sticks, like right below the buttons, like when I hit the B button, I almost always hit the analog stick. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. So I'm just like, I don't see that being an enjoyable game in portable mode. So that was just another thing that I was just like looking at.
That is my main thing. I think that's the main thing for me. Like, I'm gonna buy it because I know it's a game I'm gonna enjoy. Like I said, I only played the demo, and I was one of the people that pretty early on believed it was coming. And I'm not Nostradamus or Nostratimus.
I said that they definitely. I said they should have brought Doom instead of Skyrim back when it was shown.
Yeah, I remember that. So I'm gonna buy it and play it, that way. But I've also decided to buy it on PC as well. So
yeah, because you can get it for like under $20.
It's like $15 now. So I just want I want to support it, but I know it's a game I'm going to enjoy. It's not just I'm just buying it to support it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at somebody who's like, Bethesda's really making an effort. I want to support Bethesda. I can't be mad at somebody for that. Like I'm like I wouldn't say like,
hopefully
that's just
you want the game. Hope you're not.
Yeah, hopefully you want the game, but even still, if you just really love Bethesda and you just want to support the fact that they're making a game on a Nintendo system, like I said, I'm not gonna be mad at somebody for that. I don't know that I wouldn't do that for Bethesda specifically, but I might do that for somebody else. So, but as far as the whole, to you guys, Robert hasn't spoken in a while. You play mostly in docked, but is there a point where it's like playability is more important than the fact that it's portable? Like with Sonic Forces running at 60. I mean, for years the narrative is first-person shooters, fighting games, and platformers are ideal at 60. Like, if you're not running 60, then it automatically I don't know if it gets shunned, but it's like it's automatically kind of perceived as a lesser in those specific genres, especially. Like 60's always been kind of the standard. So where's the line for you? What is the line for, well, it's portable, so I don't really care about the other sacrifices? Can you think of one? Like,
I think if as long as it's like a lock 30, pretty much lock 30, I think it's fine, and I think it's acceptable to be like, yeah, I'll play it on the Switch. I'll take the lesser textures and the 30 frames, and also a huge thing for me is like the Joy-Cons. I like playing Joy-Cons separately. I can't really do that on any other console. True. I like to do that a lot. That's what I play on like everything, and so I like to just kind of relax and play it Joy-Con separately.
I used to be that way until my Pro Controller took over, and now I can't go back. But anyway.
Yeah.
Don't get that full HD rumble, man, unless you're
Yeah,
Joy-Con.
the Joy-Cons definitely have the better HD rumble, but those analog sticks they're not even close as far as compared to the Pro controller. But and I do want to comment, and Robert, I'll have you go first and finish your thought after this. But someone's saying, well, if my opinion about Doom could be made to any third-party game, then why even bring third-party games? Well, this is just my opinion on Doom. This isn't my opinion. Like every game, I think every game's going to be different. Just like we said in the beginning, there's nuance here. Every game is going to be evaluated, and for me is going to be evaluated separately. They're not just.
I mean, I totally see where you're coming from, and I agree with you for the most part because, again, you're right. On a game like Doom, it matters more to have that frame rate, to have even the visuals, to be able to. Because I think I'm gonna barely play it portable mode. First of all, because I don't see myself playing a game like this that requires quick twitch aiming with the Joy-Con.
No gyro. They just confirmed today no gyro aiming in Doom.
Right. So that's that's not going to be a benefit. So, whereas a game that's a little slower, like a Skyrim or LA Noire, to me it completely doesn't matter about how much you're losing in resolution
and I think those have a better argument towards the portable because the Skyrim.
Right.
The nature of a RPG where there's a lot of mundane things to do, you can. But I think he was kind of giving his thoughts. I interrupted him there. How do you feel?
I will also say that on the Wii, I remember I saw a comment that I did the same thing too. I played a lot of the Call of Duty games on the Wii, and you got talk about downgrades. That's a damn downgrade.
That's a downgrade.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the Doom compared Doom PS4 and Switch compared to Black Ops 1, Wii, and Xbox 360. It's a huge.
That's
in terms of graphics. What?
You're talking about if you compare, like, you're thinking the Wii version of Call of Duty versus Doom on Switch, but if seeing the comparison of Call of Duty on the 360, it doesn't look as good as you remember. I actually went back. When we were talking about this before, and I was making the point. Well, Call of Duty ran on the Wii. I forgot it was 30 frames. I actually forgot that they cut the frame rate in half for those games. But look up Modern Warfare 3 on the Wii versus the 360. For me, from what I've seen of Doom and from that from the Nintendo Direct, which they re-uploaded, so it's not streamed anymore. It's actual 1080p on their YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
From what I know playing Doom, I instantly was like, whoa, like there's a whole lot of textures missing. It looked really blurry to me. So I think maybe the difference, that's why I was a little bit worried with when I found all this out about Doom. I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be that drop off closer to 360 to Wii. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying.
You're still going from 480p to 720p.
Well, those games were technically 540 but they're up converted on or 6. There were 6 something native and then up converted. But yeah, so without having seen the final version of Doom, I'm just saying to me it was getting closer to that Wii Call of Duty than I ever thought. I thought the Switch was a lot closer. When you're cutting the frame rate in half and stuff.
And then you're still only talking about visuals. Whereas if you played what's the game on if you played Dead Rising on Wii and played
that was on rails, yeah.
You lose like 60 zombies from the frame
and
on the Wii version and the 360 version.
There was a huge
also the camera. Yeah,
beyond the graphics going down to Wii, you've lost the audio. It was a huge Call of Duty without digital 5.1 sound going down to the Wii, and you couldn't even. It felt like you were playing on the Game Boy. Like that's how bad the audio was on the Wii, and I'm sure Dead Space probably was the same scenario. With the audio was one of the biggest reasons.
Dead Rising with that audio was way different, way worse because you're going from You got to remember the freaking 360 had what 6 times the RAM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a huge, difference. So,
and yeah, so anybody else have an idea of maybe where the line would be? Like, okay, well, Portability is nice, but that's just too many. That's too much of a sacrifice. I'm gonna get the PS4 or PC version.
Well, for me, I like I said, I never care. I don't care when something is 30 or 60. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, 60 is gonna be better, but I have my Switch here. I like the portability aspect. Some people always like to say, yeah, 60 frames and stuttering. I mean, it's like what Robert said. Doom still looks really close. When you see the off-screen footage, it plays really fucking fast. It keeps the speed up on all versions.
that's what I was looking at.
When I was growing up, people like to say Mega Man is the best fucking game ever. When you play Mega Man 2 and there's 5 enemies on the screen, that shit lags and jitters. You don't even see half the enemies anymore. You always had that. When I play Mega Man in the past, I'm having fun. I'm playing a game, it's generally to go slow motion, and my head's like awesome slow motion shit, that's how I used to see it. And you play it, I don't sit there wondering what kind of fucking chip is in my NAS. I just don't care. So it's the same still today with the Switch. I don't care what the other versions do. I don't care what it runs at. It runs smoothly. It runs nice. It looks good. And to me, it looks good. I don't compare it to other versions. It looks good. It's on the Switch. I can take it on the go. That's it. That's all I think about. I don't care about frame rate or resolution. It's like I just don't care. It seriously doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, back in the NES, that was it. Like, you didn't have an option to play like a better plane. Like, to me, those old NES games, the slowdown, yeah, it is charming now, like, to think about it, but it was so frustrating back in the day to be like 5 frames per second in like a game like Contra or something. And I don't know if Contra ever did it a little bit, but there was other games where it was just like me and my friends would laugh at it, like it was just ridiculous. But in today's standards, games can still do that. But when I already have another version that does, that doesn't have any sacrifices, again, that was like my main point. Hey, I'm not double dipping. And then we'll talk about, I think a lot of people have been bringing this up in the chat. We'll talk about the price, and that's maybe not get fully into that because that's a whole nother conversation when you're talking about older ports and the pricing of that. But I just want to make sure, Terrell, or if you had a point where you could say, like with Sonic Forces, like you haven't made a decision yet. So
I will just because I think the other reason why I would lean towards getting Doom on the Switch is not necessarily. I mean, the portability is part of the thing, but the other thing is this. People got to remember, I was the guy who literally didn't buy a PlayStation 4 until like what was it, like a month before the Switch came out. Like I actively went the entire Wii U generation without buying a PlayStation 4 because I'm the kind of guy who does not believe you need to buy every single console, especially when you have consoles that don't have enough games to justify their existence. Xbox. So for me personally, I'd rather all the games I want to play to be on one system. That at the end of the day, that's what I want. And even though there is a cut, I have a sneaking suspicion I'd be more likely to finish Doom on the Switch than I would if it was on my PC or PlayStation 4. Primarily PC though. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The point is, I'd be more likely to beat the game because I already have the console that I'm playing with already constantly out. It's kind of it's already there, so I'm more than likely going to see it all the time and want to play it. It's not a lot, but it is a factor for me at least.
Now, what happens? Because these games aren't out yet. So let's say you're waiting, Sonic Forces comes out, a couple days ahead. There's a review, and you check some reviews, and the unanimous decision is Switch has significant frame rate drops, even at 30. Or
then I'll get it on PS4.
Yes, like that would be where you're like, okay, that sucks. Like,
yeah, the frame rate to me is the most offensive, and it depends on the kind of game. Like for Sonic, because of how fast paced the game is the only reason why I'm debating it. Doom, I'm already not insanely into shooters to begin with, which is why that one isn't a day one thing for me. But I know it's one of the more action oriented shooters. where it's very melee focused too. So that one I could see myself going either way. Like 60, it's weird. I guess because I'm a bigger Sonic fan, so I know. Plus, playing Lost World in 60 frames just kind of fucking spoiled me, and like I wouldn't want to go back intentionally. And knowing my fucking nerdy ass, I would buy that game twice. But but for Doom, it's not as big of a like, oh my god, it's not 60. Fuck you. Like if it's locked 30. I can kind of handle that for Doom.
And I'm hoping
what you said about frame rate drop, like that is something that could be an issue for me not buying something, but that depends what you mean with that. When you say, for example, frame rate drop, do you mean like Breath of the Wild Korok Forest frame rate drop, or do you mean like people on Digital Foundry? Oh, there's a frame rate drop here of like 2 frames, and I'm not seeing it. Like, I'm rewinding it. I'm not seeing it. I don't see what people see. They don't buy a game because 1 frame drops, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, where is this frame? What are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing?
I'm talking about the Breath of the Wild, like, and for a game. Obviously, Breath of the Wild in the Korok Forest, you're not doing anything precise where you have like button presses matter. But in a Sonic game, if Sonic Force is going for as much parity visually, they want the Switch version to look like the PS4 version. That's why they dropped the frame rate. But then when you're in these action-heavy scenes, all of a sudden it's stuttering and slowing down to like 20. And the PS4 version's like 60 locked, or 60 to 55, which is, I don't care what anybody says, that's way less offensive, than 30 to 25 or 30 to 20. I'm talking like hypothetically, if it came out, Doom drops like Breath of the Wild, that dropped into the low 20s. Like at that point, I think it's kind of, that's beyond, that's a different conversation than just it's 30, but it's a lock 30 versus a lock 60,
I mean, for example, with Breath of the Wild, let's see if we take that in the beginning, before they patched it, even random battles, random grass, it dropped a lot. And it's like everybody still bought it. So I guess if it's a multiplat and it happens, I might be thinking,
if there's a better, there's a better
exactly.
version
Like,
out there.
If you have a multiplat and I have a choice and it has it, and I mean do consistently, because Breath of the Wild now, for example, has it in Korok Forest, and after that you don't really find it anymore. If it's something like that in Doom, let's say it's like level 2, area 3, it happens a bit, and for the rest of the game it doesn't. Then I'm still gonna get it. But yeah, if you get it like every 2 or 3 minutes, it jitters as fuck. Then that is a reason for me, the only reason I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, and even watching the off-screen, like when you do the glory kills, it feels like even in the PC, it happens pretty quick. Like the character can jump like 5 feet if you're, there's like a hit box that's pretty wide. Like if you get kind of close and you hit the right trigger or right thumbstick down, it jumps up to do it. Like it pulls your character, to the point where it needs to be. And from what I've seen of the Switch in portable mode, it looked like there was less frames in between. It looked like they just cut out some of the animations there, which I don't know if that's true or not, but something small like that, not a big deal. But I think this is a different conversation if we're talking Digital Foundry Doom comes out and they're like, yeah, it's hitting 22, 23, 21, consistently. I think this is a totally different conversation. We've pretty much had this whole conversation on the guys that it was going to be a pretty steady 30, so. With that being said, let's talk about the price, because I know a lot of people been up in arms. Switch haters, Nintendo haters have been eating this up like it's some Nintendo only thing. Doom's coming out basically a year and a half after the original release for $60 it's on a new system. So I'm torn. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. When I know the game's going to get a price drop, it's not always going to be 60. So if you're smart, I'd probably wait a couple months. It'll probably be lower. But how do you guys feel about Doom and any other game is late? We'll say year plus coming out to the Switch. How do you feel about the full $60 price?
I understand it because
it makes sense.
You mean you're commissioning a team. Port the game over. It's not like you could just press a button and it's on the Switch. So I understand why it's not going to get the price drop that it has on the other systems, and it's already had to sell through. So that doesn't mean it doesn't suck, and because I understand it. $50, I feel like would have been a nice spot.
That's what I was thinking.
That would have been a better spot. It would have been an easier purchase. But I mean, I understand why it's the price it is. It's obviously it's not going to be, $20 or $30, whatever it is on the consoles right now. So
it's just like if it's like from a difference with like $60 on the Switch, and let's say it's like 60 on Switch and 50 on PS4, and people cry and complain about that, but you do not have Steam, you gotta fuck off. Yeah. If you cry about $10 but not about $40 difference, because come on, Doom basically is like $15 on Steam, if you cry about the $10 difference but not about the rest, you got nothing to say to me. For me personally, it really doesn't matter. It's like T said, teams have been working on this, more people have to be paid, people have to make their money. I've bought indie games for like $1, and I've bought games like for over $100 special editions. Like the $60, it means nothing to me. Like people have to be paid. It's the price, Like I really don't care.
And it's not just Nintendo haters. It's also some Nintendo fans, and some of these people are the same people crying for Virtual Console who want to rebuy games they already bought twice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of funny on that level too. And
I wonder, I don't have like, I can't think of examples, but like a remastered PS3 game, there was a lot of those that came out on PS4, Xbox One. Like there was a lot of 7th gen games. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of them were 60 at launch. Not all of them.
I thought they were like more towards 40 or 50, which to me is still kind of
There was like, I think The Last of Us was 50.
No, wasn't Last of Us 60?
No, Last of Us was $60.
Yeah,
no, remember they dropped it right before it came out. They decided.
Oh, that's right. You are right. Yes,
but they only dropped it like $10, which to me still isn't really worth it.
I think a good example of what you want to say, Juice, is for example Tomb Raider on Xbox barely costs anything anymore, and I think when it was released on PS4, it was like $60 or something.
Yeah,
it was a full game. Nobody cried then.
$60 on PS4.
That was about a year. So it's not only happening on Switch, but I'm with T where I think the other versions obviously came out at 60. They sold millions of copies, and then they reduced the price. They made their money. I think 50 would have been just because it's going to hit 50, 40, 30 eventually, because that's how third-party games. There's going to be a sale. You're going to be able to find Doom on Switch for under 60, obviously, at some point. Yeah. But I think 50 would have been like, hey, we realize this game's a year and a half old, but we still think it's a quality game. It's definitely worth 60. The only thing I would say, I'm glad when we didn't bring this up, I'm glad they put the entire single player and they decided to use a 16 gigabyte card and didn't do what NBA did and put it, the least amount they could on the card. So the entire single player can be played without ever downloading anything. The multiplayer.
That costed them too. That's a 16 gig card.
So they took the 16 gig card, which I appreciate, definitely. I think that, to me, that was like, that kind of wiped away the frame rate and stuff for me. Like, I was like, I really appreciate. Someone's like, I thought you weren't buying it. It's like, I'm not, but I really appreciate that they did that. But still, if they used a 32 gig card and the whole game was on there, 60 would be fine with me. I still think 50 would have been just that perfect spot, but I hope it does well, and I hope people buy it. And it's definitely worth, even though I bought it for 35 on PC, I still feel like it's definitely a worthy game at 60. So Robert, what do you think?
I think it's still fine that it's at 60. Obviously, what I want it to be for free, sure, you know what I mean. But
get a review code.
Yeah, maybe there's it. But it's just, the thing is, like, only last year I bought Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for 60, and it's like, to me, it's like, I think people put too much stock into, like, oh well, it's 10 years old, it should be way cheaper. I'm like, I guess technically, but like if it still is worth, if it's still a 20-30 hour game, then I say it's still worth that money if you still pay for it. Obviously, it will get cheaper, but like if you were still trying to buy Brawl, still like 20, and that came out like 10 years ago, it's like, and that's a new copy. So it's like, it's weird. Like the pricing is very strange because a lot of people feel so many different ways. To me, it's like I'm fine with paying the actual base price that it came out and released at a much later time. Most of the time that won't happen. Like I said, that's only seems like with Nintendo games. But like, I'm fine with Doom at 60, especially it did only come out a year ago. It's not like it did come out 10 years ago. It's like it's a year ago. Yeah, I know, I get that. And it's coming out a new console, so I kind of figured it was going to be 60. I was actually shocked that Rayman Legends wasn't 60 when they said it was 40. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought it was going to be 60, but you know. So I mean, to me, I think that's fine that Doom's at 60. To be honest,
this falls right into my argument of paying more for convenience again, because a lot of the stuff coming from the quote unquote haters is, well, I only had to pay 40. Well, okay, great. So what? What if you, or whatever, what if you were a Nintendo fan who doesn't have a PS4?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get that price, I have to buy a PS4 and then buy the game. So I'm still doing better over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still better for me. If you want to order out and you don't want to get off your butt, you got to pay more for something that is cheaper if you just got off your ass. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you're paying more for convenience. You're paying more for the convenience of playing it on the console you prefer to play it on. Maybe it's the only console you have. So
yeah, that's true. The other side to this is, well, first of all, Rayman Legends 40. Like, to me, like that had to be 40 or less. Like they did.
That thing is on everything but scientific calculators, so it better not be. You know, there was too much competition for that game.
When do you remember when Lego City Undercover came out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch? Wasn't that a $60 game? Or was it?
Was it? Okay.
Oh, it was $60.
And Wii U,
the original game
fans,
was $50.
If a PS4 guy was looking at buying that game, what could a Wii U owner be saying? Right, that game's $20 right now on the Wii U.
Right.
You know,
I alluded to that. It's like, but I didn't say ha ha ha. You're buying it. I had it for. I can get it for 20. I didn't say that because it's stupid. It's a stupid argument to make. It's just it's dumb.
And that shit, like, it happens all the time. It still doesn't change that. I mean, anyone that's spending money on something would definitely hope it was cheaper. But I understand them asking 60. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should cover. Or it's been about 2 hours, so. I think we pretty much exhausted that. I just wanted to reiterate that for those that haven't played Doom, and it's crazy that T's been able to. He's got a system he could have played on, and other people had same way. Whatever you buy it on, I don't care if you get it on Steam to save the money or whatever. You should definitely play the game because it's a really fun game, and it was like number 2. I think it was my number 2 last year for 2016. It's a great game. So it's like you shouldn't miss out. You shouldn't have waited. If you have a PS4, Xbox One, or PC, you probably shouldn't have waited this long to have played it because it is a great game. And it's especially if you like that old school. I know some people. There's one guy, I think he's in the chat right now. He likes Doom 3 the best, even though to me that wasn't even Doom.
Yeah, it wasn't. I waited a year, knowing full well that I could have bought Arkham City. I waited a full year to get it on Wii U because that's where I wanted to play it.
That's true.
So people do that all the time. I don't know why. It's just, it's the advantage thing. Well, our fan base has this advantage over you. It's like with the PS4 and Xbox One wars. And so, you guys are 900p, we're 1080. Like, they could tell that without somebody telling them what the difference was. So
I just think the likelihood that Doom was coming to Switch was so low. I mean, it worked out for you, but I just think if somebody hasn't bought it yet and has a system, and especially if you can get it for $20 on PS4, I would still say if you just want to play Doom, you should experience it. And
why do you think it was so low, though? Like, to me, it was the game that made the most sense. I mean, obviously,
I'm just talking about the masses, not me or you, because I kind of wanted it, but I don't think it was I don't think most people would have thought it was likely. Even Digital Foundry's video was the impossible port. Like,
Well,
you
I
know.
was just looking at what, Bethesda was obviously on that list of supporters for Wii or for Switch right away, and I'm like, well, what are they going to bring? Their options is like Fallout and Doom at this point. Like, what else are they going to bring? Obviously, they brought Skyrim, but they weren't just going to port a bunch of 360 games over. They were going to bring new stuff. I thought.
Well, we hope they did. They would.
Yeah, I hoped. I believed. I believed. That that's not how you ingratiate yourself with a fan base that you've never messed with before. Is to give them a bunch of old games. So I figured we're at least going to get one new game from them, and I figured it would be Doom because it made the most sense. It was the
I'm not
most
gonna
broad
lie.
appealing.
I was one of those people who thought that the Switch simply wouldn't be able to handle Doom. So when Bethesda was there and they showed Skyrim, I was like, cool, Bethesda is bringing Skyrim. And now after this last Direct, I'm like, oh, cool. Like there's like Skyrim, but there's also like Doom and Wolfenstein. Now I feel it's not just Bethesda bringing Skyrim. Now there's actual Bethesda support. And now I'm confident, yes, that future games, they will be coming too.
I've been trying to tell you for months, but you don't want to listen to no.
It's not that I don't want to listen.
You don't want to listen to no Shatimas. I've been trying to tell you.
Oh shit! Are you down to master, son?
And the funny thing
proof. I don't believe shit because people tell it to me.
Well, I'm looking at the
see
tech.
something run.
I'm not the biggest tech dude. Like I'm a software guy, and I'm just looking at the new tech. I'm looking at what developers are saying, how easy and how quickly they've been making these ports and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, if it's that quick, they should be able to put some of this. Again, the Wii got multiplats from the 360 and the PS3. Obviously, it wasn't nowhere near being on par. But the fact that they made an effort to do that, if the Wii can get multiplat, so can the Switch. The Switch is closer, way closer.
I said that, but the funny thing is, it's finding this out about Doom and hearing the hands-on reports, like everybody, like everyone I listened to was like, it's impressive, but yeah, it is definitely a little blurry, and it's hard to see because of the back, the screen size and stuff is a little hard to see the enemies and read the text and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's impressive, but like I said, my juice opinions, this game was already at 60, so there's a lot of breathing room for performance by cutting that frame rate. Automatically gave them way more breathing room to make the game on Switch. So I was like, I'm less convinced that any game's possible now, because what if the game starts at 30? What if they're like Wolfenstein 2 is designed at 30 on PS4, Xbox One to look as good as it can? Then what is the sacrifice going to be to make it run on Switch? So that's kind of a question I asked at the end of my juice opinions, and we're out of time to get into that tonight. Maybe we'll discuss it in a further podcast. But it's funny that
we talked about it earlier, that these things can change. Doom might get a bump once they get more acquainted with the hardware. I don't think they're tapping out the Switch right now with that port. I think they might be close, but I don't think they've completely done what they could do.
And then you look at like Mario Odyssey at 60 frames now. I don't think that was running at 720p at E3, but still, that's a really impressive looking game built for the Switch, probably ground up, that runs at 60 and has a big, lots of environments and lots, really good textures and stuff. Like a really impressive game running at 60. So, I mean, there's definitely...
Look at the Wii U ports that we've gotten. How much better they look on the Switch.
Yeah.
On a way tinier device.
True.
That's what sparked my interest and got me thinking, well, hey, if they can run these games better and prettier and on a tiny little device, it should be able to run the current stuff.
And the interesting thing, which I forgot to say, I wanted to say in my juice opinions, was, to me, like, yeah, Doom on PC looks like really sharp, like the texture work and stuff. There's not a lot going on in the background, so I kind of there's not huge environments in some areas. There's some bigger ones. The backgrounds are all kind of just faked backgrounds, so I thought it's not as big of a scale game. But of all the, it probably would have got a lot of outcry, from the so-called hardcore. I thought Doom would be a perfect game to say, hey, let's try making this like more of a cell shaded, like a Breath of the Wild kind of not full, but like a mixture cell shaded, you know. So instead of just having blurry textures in a realistic looking setting, let's see what happens with more of a artistic, like Borderlands type cell shaded look. That probably would have hurt a lot of people, but for me, and if it could have did that and then ran at a nice 60, to me that would have been. Now we got a unique version on the Switch. Now I have a reason to double dip. Like to me that's a cool unique version. But I love that kind of art style. So,
I think that's the same thing with those people who were cool with the cheapy crap mobile version of Final Fantasy 7 or 15. They were like, oh, it looks way different, even though it's the same game. It'd be cool to go through it again, that type of thing. So,
yeah, that for me, I probably have been in the minority, but I was thinking that would have been cool because I would have kind of actually liked to see a game like that with a little more cell, and it still could have kept the gore and all that. It just would have had a really unique look to it. So I know Borderlands does that, and that's a first-person perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But all right, so let's just do some final thoughts and get on out of here. I think we like I said earlier covered just about everything about that. So Terrell, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, we got a decent amount of games coming out. What was that, Friday? I think FIFA comes out. I forget, FIFA's the box version, isn't it?
Yeah. And according to the Best Buy website, there's no SD card required on the box art. So
well, I didn't think it would be.
Does that mean you're gonna get it, Juice?
Well, let's let Terrell finish. I got a thought on that.
Okay. Also, I forgot the arcade archives. The Super Mario Brothers. The Super Mario Brothers comes out.
He's breaking up.
Is that this year? I missed one of the.
It's like Thursday.
Yeah, who cares about it? I mean, the Punch Out one looks interesting. I don't know about the.
I
already have those already on my main emulator, so.
Well, of course.
it's a hard sell for me.
You're part of the problem, T.
Rebuy those old games.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, but good podcast. I like these discussions. I look forward to more of them. I guess I'll use this as a quick time. The only two games I've been playing, I'm playing a good amount of ARMS, and I've been playing a good amount of Samus Returns. Both good games. I know people think ARMS is dead. Pick up the game. It's still good. God damn it. Yeah, like I always say, life's a game, play to win.
All right, I'll touch on the FIFA thing real quick. The one thing that's going to make me a liar when I said if it all fits in the cart, doesn't this feel a lot like the Wii and Wii U, where it's like they're not talking about the Switch version anymore? It's just like FIFA's coming out. No one has, like, maybe there'll be some reviews a couple days before, but there's no more, hey, here's the Switch version. Like, they're not highlighting the Switch version anymore. It's just getting, what do they say, stealth released at this point. Like, they talked about it at E3, but it's basically a stealth release at this point. It's just going to come out, oh, and here's the Switch version. This, if you want to see what it looks like, you'll have to buy it. There's not.
Where's the confidence, man? Where's the
confidence?
confidence?
True, actually.
They showed it at Gamescom. It was docked, but they had it minimized so they could have the people on camera, so it was like reduced screen size, so it wasn't full screen. And other than that, we've seen portable, and they kept saying about how this is the best portable version, and this is our best effort for Nintendo, but they've been it's the word on FIFA for a month, and I'm concerned, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just EA being EA again. It's like, why aren't they hyping up this game if it comes out on Friday? I didn't even know it came out Friday. I forgot about the damn game.
They gotta stick up their ass about Nintendo, man. I don't know what's going on.
It's ridiculous, but anyway,
even when it's selling like it's selling, and like they have no excuse to not go full bore with this console.
I might as well wait a month. It'll probably be on Black Friday. It'll probably be at $40 or less. So, all right, Robert, what's your final thoughts?
Okay, so it's been a while since I could talk about some movies, but
I'm going to bed, everybody.
I saw Kingsman and Lego Ninjago. Lego Ninjago's okay, but I did really like Kingsman. Had a lot of fun with it. and it is still in theaters. So please go watch it if you haven't seen it. Although it's making a shit ton of money anyway. If you haven't seen
I
it,
didn't look to see
is?
what the number one.
it's
Ninjago?
what happened.
What's making money?
It is still making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's at like, I think it's almost 500 million worldwide right now. It's crazy.
It deserves it.
Fucking terrible.
Yes, it does. I definitely
You woke
agree.
me up. That's how bad of a joke that was. That
It has been hyped up so much at this point. Like, there's no way it's not gonna be disappointing when I finally watch it. There's no way.
Oh boy,
It's
I'm
been
telling you,
hyped up to the freaking.
dude! Nobody says it's an amazing film. I just think it's really.
I think it's an amazing film.
I've been hearing.
Well,
Robert's part of the problem. Don't believe in
It's
Robert.
probably gonna get Oscar nominations and shit.
It's fantastic because
I haven't heard that kind of stuff. I've heard people hype it, but I think people just they have the nostalgia for the original, and this obviously goes farther than that. And it doesn't suck. It's a remake that doesn't suck. I think that's why a lot of people really like it.
Well, it was never
so
officially a Hollywood movie. It was a TV.
Well, yeah, it was a
series.
TV film, but most, I mean, you know, that was good enough for a lot of people. That's where most people saw it. So,
and that was that. It's a really damn good movie. And a little self promotion here, but I uploaded a new skit which I think people should check out. It's about how my 3DS possesses someone. So check it out.
It's a pretty good little homemade movie, like short, but
I'm gonna get at that. I haven't been able to because
I think I don't know if I'm laughing at it because it's Robert and I'm just impressed, or if it's genuinely funny.
Wow.
No, I'm just saying I genuinely am impressed with his little short films. So I don't know if it's because I know you that I like it so much, or so.
Well, I appreciate it.
He can't tell if he's being genuine, is what he's saying.
They're fun to make, you know, and it's I enjoy them.
Yeah, because I was laughing at a couple parts, and I'm just like, is it because I know Robert, or is it because it's really funny? So,
well, there's some people that guys are saying very funny. So,
what was the one you did before? That was just
that was the Super Nintendo one, where it gets canceled.
Yeah, that had me dying.
I never wanted to see two consoles fucking. By the way,
anybody plan on this Friday?
I forgot about the thing.
Oh God, right! I forgot it comes out
another
Friday.
$80.
Oh yeah.
If I see one, I'll buy one for you.
He's lying.
I think I'm gonna be able to
Don't
get
trust
one.
that man. He's lying to you, T.
But yeah, if you see one, definitely.
I'll stand there and I'll message you and wait for your reply.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm gonna do that. He's lying.
I think I'm gonna go to the Nintendo New York store and do the midnight launch. That could be pretty damn cool.
Oh fuck! I gotta work.
It's like a 90s themed party apparently they're having. That'd be pretty cool. I might check it out. I don't know. We'll see.
I ain't gonna lie, I've lost any and all interest in that thing. Like, it's just as soon as the pre-orders went instantly. I know they said there's gonna be more, and if they're plentiful in the store, that's gonna even kill it from a different reason for me. It's just like, oh, now it's not a rare item, but also I don't like how they handle it. And another thing, I'm not just huge into going back and playing old games when there's a bunch of new games coming out. So for me, it's one of those. And I don't like the whole how it comes down for the controllers to plug in. I really wish they just made them have the same Super NES kind of plug. It's just a small little complaint. But Retro, final thoughts.
Yeah, I kept trying to think of shit to say, but I don't really have much to say. It was a great podcast. Like, it was a lot of fun. I would just recommend, because Robert, he likes watching all these movies. I just saw What Happened to Monday today. There's like the sci-fi movie is really good. I suggest you check it out. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that movie's only on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was like this Netflix movie was released last month. It's about this world where people are only allowed to have one child, and it's about 7 sisters. It's such a good movie. Best movie we've seen this whole year. It's incredible.
Better than Logan?
Logan was trash. You know that.
I'm kidding, because I already know Retro. We don't want to start something, so let's just go there. T, go ahead.
Alien Covenant sucks.
I can tell from the previews.
But no, great podcast as always. Be looking out for a video from me coming up pretty soon here. and shameless plug.
I want to hear that shit.
Yeah, I am looking forward to getting that Super Nintendo Classic because it's awesome to be able to play those games and with a good HDMI signal. That's the thing that sucks about those old games is you got to go through so many hoops to be able to play them on your HD TV.
Yeah, and it has a really the emulator, just like the NES Classic, looks even significantly better color wise than the Wii U of the same.
And when people like me say that, you can hear RetroPie and Retron 5 and people just like to play on the original hardware, that original controller. The games that they remember. That's the reason I still play like Jet Force Gemini on N64, even though I have Rare Replay, because it's to me it's unplayable with an Xbox controller because I'm so used to playing it with the N64 controller. So it's the same thing. And even with those fake, copycat controllers, you can feel the difference if you're a gamer from that era that it's not the same still. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I can hack it and throw a bunch more games on there. So that would be cool too. And it'll be a great way to do T-plays of old stuff. So, but yeah, that's all I gotta say. Switch is doing great. I'm happy. Looking forward to more games from third parties and step your game up, y'all, and play Nintendo food.
All right. Yeah, it was a great discussion. I was a little worried, that maybe last week I wouldn't say anything bad. I could tell there was a little bit of snippiness going on, and I was kind of worried that this might happen. Even though Rich was like, "That's his favorite podcast of all time," and I got to go back and re-listen because there was a lot of shade thrown at people, and I thought I was planning on this podcast doing that, but you can't force it. It didn't happen. It didn't come up. But for me, I'm not buying the NES or Super NES Classic or not planning on it. And FIFA's I'm just at this point, even though last week I was like, if it's all in the whole thing, I still might buy it, just not paying $60 if they're not going to continue to promote the Switch version. It's like, you guys just don't care. It's it just seems like you don't care. But I will be interested to find out, direct feed footage, and I'm predicting Digital Foundry will do a NBA 2K and FIFA kind of analysis, hey, here's these two different approaches. Curious to see how it ends up. But honestly, the next game I know for sure I'm buying is October 27th.
Yeah,
so
boy.
There's nothing in between at this stage. I'm disappointed with Fire Emblem Warriors and the DLC. I knew it was going to happen, but
of course,
I'm not loving that. What I heard about, and even though I wasn't really excited, the gameplay to me, just that whole style just wasn't going to be a day one really. Plus, it comes out a week before Mario, so I'm just really going to try to finish Metroid, Steamworld Dig 2, probably still trying 100% Mario plus Rabbids, and then really it's I might need something to kind of fill a void. I might have to get an indie game or pick something up to kind of fill that.
Indie games coming out every freaking week.
I know, so I got to find something else because I don't think what I have is gonna. And maybe I'll finish Zelda and Master Mode, but it's man, we're over a month, 5 weeks to Mario, and so it's I don't know if I have enough games to keep me set till then. We'll see.
Turn that Wii U back on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about playing my Mario Maker levels. With a year has gone by, and I got 20 levels. I'd be curious just to go back and play them. Just playing without, and see how I feel about it.
Miiverse is still there. Might as well go enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. Days are numbered. I actually posted on the Miiverse when I was.
Yeah, someone shaded you in the chat way earlier. I thought it was funny. So it's Samus Metroid Return. Metroid Samus Return must be a good game because Juice posted about it on Miiverse, and I was like, ah.
And it really didn't take that long to get to the whole Miiverse thing. I remembered it being way longer on the 3DS, even though the new 3DS is quick, way quicker.
I was going to say, which one do you have? You got the new 3DS, right?
Yeah, it didn't take long. It was
definitely longer on my layer cake green 3DS from back in it.
Yeah, that was
the abomination, right?
That was terrible. Robert tried to throw his away, and it came back, so.
Boomerang.
Boomerang them hoes. What?
So go check out Robert's skit. It is pretty good. Clocked It, another YouTuber who, like, somebody asked on Twitter, I forget who it was, like, who do you guys watch? And I'm just like, you know, right now, other than you guys, like, Clocked It is one of my favorite. Like, when I see a video, I'm like, I'm watching that right now. Like, I'll pause damn live TV and watch that. Like, so I kind of want to try to get him on to a podcast. We might have to do like a weekend early because he's over in the UK, like retro.
Nice, we get some British people.
But check him out for sure. He's got.
I link his channel quite frequently at the end of my videos too. So.
And it's like every time he makes a point, it's like maybe why I like him so much is it's like that's what I'm thinking. Like we pretty much have the same kind of views on everything, so maybe that's why I like him as much as I do. But good stuff. And other than that, there's not a lot of great YouTube and out there anymore.
I like watching Xbox fanboys lose their fucking minds. That's pretty funny.
I can't lie. I watched Next Gen 720 at the Gamescom.
it's entertaining, man.
That shit had me in tears.
He was so defeated, but he was being honest.
Yeah. Kudos to him for that. Yeah.
He did throw a little. Nintendo gives Nintendo fans what they
he
want.
hates it. He did. Nintendo molested him or something. He just.
It's like
Mario say, "Hey man, I'm about to plumb these drains real quick."
Nintendo gave us more than was doing more than just catering to their fan base. They're actually expanding.
Yeah, that's why they're doing so well.
They're expanding their dongs.
Fan base.
But anyway, that's going to be it for this. Juice is loose, and it was a great discussion.
Bang,
hopefully next week we'll hopefully we'll have some good topics for you next week. Hopefully some news comes out, and we'll have some hands-on of FIFA. Maybe not.
Is anyone here buying that?
I don't know how FIFA for you is a compensation for a basketball game. I know they're way different games. So
I'm just saying.
I don't know why it's an either or.
I can't, and we don't get into this now. I just everything about 2K I felt is handled wrong at this point. So I can't support it. But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Live chat was very active, and we'll see you guys next week.